Okay, good afternoon. I'm just reading your comments, Karina. Good afternoon, folks. Okay, I hope everyone is well. So we have CPI, and I took a trade on CPI, an evaluation. I made $6,800 on it, so that passed quite easy. I put an order in about here, actually, and it shut up. So love you too, Karina. Let's have a look. Exponential, how you doing? Little Hammer, how you doing? So, let me have a look here. So, I was just wondering whether we were going to hold above here and this was going to push up, but it is kind of taking all this back. I was looking here as well on this range bar, whether there was anything like this and a leg back. We kind of had a channel down there and a couple of pushes to a new low. So, if you took a trade there off there, it did work. It didn't go up very far though, but we are more or less recovering this whole move. So does seem to be like, I mean, yesterday really, I think we had kind of, by the end of the day, we had kind of like that really, didn't we? Then we had a little bit of break and an overshoot above there. So it's hard to know whether this thing is going to come down a bit and continue up. It's hard to know, really. So, see how we get on today anyway. Does anybody know if Nut is back today? Have a look. He had a rough day yesterday. I don't think he is, actually. Probably good to take a day off. He's still got a bunch of accounts anyway, so he's still all right. He's still in good shape. Let me have a look. No, I think he's taking the day off today. That's sensible, I think. So, okay. So, yeah, CPI, we had that bit of a spike. We didn't have any. I actually put my order right up here. We didn't have any kind of whiplash in. It just actually shot right up. How was the birthday? Yeah, it was okay, actually. We had a bunch of friends coming around. It was okay. It's mine next week. In fact, is it Juneteenth or Juneteenth, whatever you call it? It's mine on the 19th. So I've just been trying to get myself some tickets to a sporting event, but there's not many available. Actually, I fancied seeing some cricket. In fact, I very nearly didn't trade today. I got offered some tickets, some cricket tickets for Lord's in London, Lord's Cricket Ground in London, to watch Australia and South Africa. But I didn't take him. It was a bit short notice, really. Sam, how you doing, buddy? Yeah, so my wife went to bed with a rather of a headache. She had a few to drink. But yeah, good birthday. So, I'm surprised actually. The way this was going sideways, I thought this may hold, but it didn't. It dropped, so I don't really think we need that there now. In fact, what I might do is just leave that there for the highs of the day. In fact, let me get rid of this and just bring this down. So I would say, yeah, that kind of sums it up, doesn't it? There is a higher low there. We've had a channel with a break and a new low, possible higher low. Let me have a look at this. Maybe a break and a new low. It's also looks like two legs down. Trouble is, I wouldn't necessarily go long here because it's just a bit unclear at the moment. Jay, how you doing, buddy? It's not super clear, really, is it? Daryl, how you doing, mate? How you doing? So channel break, new low. Just see if I can get some ideas of charts. Okay, so you mentioned the spike and channel, didn't you? And Thomas Wade's got one from around about here. So, not that I'm aware of, bud. Not that I'm aware. To be fair, mate, I know about the same time as you. To be honest with you, sometimes they'll send affiliates an email that say we're doing X amount of discount from tomorrow. Don't post anything until a certain time. They give you a time, but not often, to be honest with you. Most of the time now, you just get an email, and I believe it's the kind of the same time as you guys get it. So we got a move down and a couple of legs up. So channel down, 2 attempts to push higher. Now, I would consider a lower high here. That's what you got. Yeah, that's the trouble, see. You say you got a spike and channel, but I can't see your chart. That's why I kind of have a look. Thomas Way's got the same thing, so we may even get a second entry short here. I don't see there's no reason why we couldn't go short here. It does look like a spike in the channel. You've got it. Thomas Wade's got it. So if we can get something here, what's that ATR like? 3.75. Jay, was it you messaged me earlier? I was in the supermarket when you messaged. Didn't you message? Cool. Didn't you message something about going for a point or something? The trouble is, at the moment, when that ATR's 3.7, you're going for a 1.75 risk. Well, actually, it's more like 4 points, so I just can't bring myself to take a point, to be honest with you. If there's a bearish bar here, I consider a lower high. It is 2 legs up. The trouble is, it's very tempting, that is, and it's off the key entry point. It's very tempting, but I'm just going to wait for a lower high, just in case. Although it is 2 attempts to push up, it's only really a first entry. So if we get a lower high, that will be a second entry short. And we've recovered the majority of this, so you don't quite know where it's going to go. So if you would have taken that trigger, just stopped just straight out, which is why I don't even consider at the moment. It did look like 2 attempts up, so I can kind of get why it would be of interest. Maybe a triple test. Yeah, trouble is, it's a bit cruel, that is, because it works there. So I bet there'll be some traders who decided to have a go at that. But look at that, triggers you out, and then stops you out. So I don't even bother at the moment, but this would be a second entry short here. If we could get something. But at the moment, unless it triggers above here, it's an inside bar. It's a tough one. Someone said they consider a lower high. It's a tough one, isn't it? I mean, it's a second entry short here, but the trouble is it's a bit stacked up now. And there's a small break. It's not a very big break, and it just doesn't look super clear which way this is going to go. Maybe it may go a bit higher. It's hard to say. Now it's recovered a lot of this. It's hard to know what it's going to do, really. So it's triggered and it's come down here. If we can get a lower high, it wouldn't be a bad idea, I don't think. But it's not super clear. See that? It's okay taking that, but you have got 5 bars there almost back to back. And if you look on here, it's a little bit congested. It does look like a couple of a leg with a bit of side and a leg. So a lower high I don't think would be a terrible idea. Trouble is you've got to be super strict when it's like this, because this can just chop you up. So the only bit of liquidity, if this skin's going to come down, the only bit of liquidity I can see is that, but that is tight under that EMA, so it may break above this and drop. It's hard to say. Or we could have something like this, a leg and a leg. It's hard to say at the moment, but it did trigger above there, which is why I'm glad I left it, because it is a little bit stacked up and it's not clear. It's good to have both these charts here because you can have a quick flick left to right and compare. So there's a second entry short. It has triggered it. You may have got a point or two out of that, but then we got this one. Same again. It's a bit stacked up. And it's a bit unclear where we're going here, so I'm just going to sit tight because we could have a leg and a leg, and it may come a bit higher. I wouldn't take a trade here at the moment because there's a bit of a block here, so we could get a leg with a break and another leg up here and then come down. So I'm just sitting tight at the moment. Now, it may come down, but it's a may. I don't want to trade on a May at the moment. There's no way I'd take a trade on the ES at the moment. See what I mean? We're pushing back up now. So we get a leg and a leg. Now, it may work, but if you got into that now and someone gave the option to get out break even, you snap their hand off, wouldn't you? So I'm glad I stayed out of it because you know, we could sort of do this. Something like that, and then possibly down. But this is stacked up. It's too risky taking that, I think. Triple test maybe, but the trouble is it may look like a triple test on here, but look at this. This is just pure congestion. And sometimes, as we know, we'll go up, sideways and up. Now, if this is a channel down here, we could do that, go up, go sideways and up. So it's just a no trade zone for me at the moment. So this is just pure congestion at the moment. So I've learnt the hard way just to sit tight here. It may work, but the trouble is if you take a trade here when it's congesting, it works. It does make you think it's okay to do that. But I think the simple answer is when it's like this, just stay out of it. I mean, it looks even worse on it. At least this is kind of readable. But I wouldn't be surprised if we had a bigger push. So up here, a little bit of this, and then up here, and then maybe down. As we've traded up into this range, it's not much of a break after this channel, so I wouldn't be surprised if we had two legs up and then a move down, but it's just nothing to do here, really. If you look on the 10,000 tick chart, it's just purely congested, perfectly sideways here, so it's just not worth the risk. Now we're out the bottom of it, so it does look like it's going to push down and make a new low. Trouble is, it's not much of a break, and it could do that before it pushes down. So you just never quite know when it does this. You never quite know if it's going to go in your direction or it's going to drop up there, take out any possible short stops, and then decide to drop. I mean, that is a possibility. And the reason I say that is if I look on one of Dan's charts for the day, there was a triple test before the price drop. Trouble is, it's just choppy, isn't it? I can't see anything that would kind of attract me. The only triple test you may be inclined to do is there. But on this, yeah, I don't fully trust this yet. I'm getting close to it, but yeah, there was a triple test on here and it did work. But I just need a little bit more time till I kind of okay, Dan has just posted this 1 minute ago. Okay, so he's thinking along the same lines. And I was about to say I like this because Dan started off with this bit here. Where was it? I think that's daily chat, chart update. Yeah, he started with this. So when we had that what looked like a break, I actually followed his line, and he's actually done it now. There it is there. So he's thinking that as well. So perhaps there isn't a break. He almost took it. It's tempting, mate, isn't it? I don't know how much I trust this at the moment. Sometimes it seems a bit too good to be true. We had a push down there. You could say 1, 2, 3, triple test there, which worked. Triple test there, which worked. So, you know, when you seem to be getting too many good setups, something doesn't seem to feel right. I think that's the paranoid in me, I think. But that kind of looks the same way in an odd way, doesn't it? So it's hard to say, really, isn't it? But when you do trust in this, I think you can do well out of it. I looked at this as well, 2 measured legs down to here. Now I go for 3 points. Would this have worked? 2 legs down. It does look like 2 legs down. I think it would have done. So if I'd have jumped in there, I go for 3 points. It clearly worked. So it did look like 2 nice legs, that. We got a leg down there and a leg down there. 2 legs with a bit of a correction. And it pushed up just, well, comfortably enough. So that may have worked. And then we found support resistance there. There was a second, well, it was like a failure there. Second entry long, which triggered bearish bar, and that just dropped. Maybe a lower high there. You're trapping a ton of stops here. And then a triple test. It just seems a little bit too good to be true at the moment. So it's hard to know what to do. You know, I think maybe the option is to maybe trade half a dozen micros, 5 micros, and just take everything you see and see what happens. But I don't know. You know, I'm happy with 1 trade a day if I can get 2 happy days, but 1 trade a day is enough for me. I don't want to be super greedy. I'm happy just to get me points and do a runner. So we've recovered that whole move back. I mean, almost to the nearest tick. Yeah, look at that. That's where it took off from, straight up. Look where we've come back to. We've come back and found some support there. It's kind of weird, isn't it? Is that random? I wouldn't have said so. And now all of a sudden this thing's pushing up quite strong. Yeah, it's not super clear, is it? It's just, where do you think it's going to go? Continue up or down? Not a clue. Shall I change something over here a minute? Oh, let's put that on number 3. And that on number 3. And that on number 3. Let's just check everything's working.
Order
okay.
submitted.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Perfect.
Order cancelled.
Yeah, strong move up on the 2000 tick chart. It was a spike and channel. On the range chart, it was a single channel down. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they are quite different, aren't they? That's the trouble, really. But, you know, I think if you took this on its own merit, the trouble is when you're comparing, it's hard to know, really. There are certain things where it kind of looks, I mean, that section down there looks pretty close. This bit looks almost identical. This bit does, but then I suppose it depends on the size of the bars. You know, this bit looked like a channel with a break. So it's a tough one, isn't it? I think really whether you're better off trading this on its own merit and not looking at this at all. You know, when I started trading it, I'm thinking these trades look, but there's a bit too many. They look brilliant. It looks a bit too good to be true. So there's definitely a learning curve, but I certainly think it's a useful tool to have in your arsenal, this because sometimes the trades are very clear. Now, if I've got the direction right, in other words, if we've got a nice trend up, this works great. But when it's like this, at the moment, this is working quite random. I don't know whether we're moving towards the top or the bottom. I haven't got a clue. So that's why it makes this a little bit untrustworthy, which is why I kind of left it. You know, I've got no problem leaving a trade. If all I'm trying to get, really, if I can get 3 winning trades a week, clear 3 winning trades, that's $2,000 over a month. Even if at the end of the day I only had half of that, it's still enough. So I'm not in a rush to take a trade. So I'm okay. I'm okay just to sit back and wait for something a little bit more obvious, a little bit more clear. So we've had this move down. Now, maybe you consider that overnight highs, would you, around here? We seem to be hitting that area, so maybe we've got kind of overnight highs around here. I wouldn't consider that because that's more in the daytime, is it? But maybe it's this channel down. We've had one leg, maybe we come down and have another attempt, and if we can bounce rejection off this area, then we may come down again. It's hard to say at the moment. So channel break. So we go from here. To do, not rush, not for, yeah. You know, you do learn after a while. I mean, I find it quite fun to look back on some of my older trading sessions. I've been streaming now for 2.5 years, basically. It's quite a long time, actually. It's gone pretty quick. But I don't know how many times I just randomly jumped in because the market was going down. I thought that was the kind of way you do it. If it looks like it's going down, you jump in. But after you've been battered from pillar to post again and again and had counts after accounts just get damaged, you do slowly filter out the crap. And you take less and less trades. And you win more and more. So less is definitely more in this business, but it takes a long time to get there until you're not doing silly things. Now, I'm not perfect. I still take impulsive trades from time to time, but mostly my trades, kind of pre-planned. There are sometimes I've gone, oh, this is going up, let's buy. But, I've only been trading 4.5 years. In the grand scheme of things, I'm still a relatively inexperienced trader. If I've been doing this 8 to 10 years, I wouldn't expect to do as much silly stuff, but it does take time. It's obviously learning how the market's going, and it's learning to control yourself. And the trouble is, and I find this, the reason sometimes when I get new accounts and I try and rush them is I think it's doubt. There's that many failures when you learn to trade. You do have this kind of mentality that, can I really do this? Or am I have I got to rely on reluctant to get to where I am? Or have I really got the strength and skills to learn this? So it's very hard to believe in something when you've failed at it so many times. And I think that's part of the reason why that psychological side and the patience side does take time. Sometimes you feel like I've got to take a risk to get the account to give a bit big of a boost because I can't get it there on my own. But everything you ever read, if you've got some skills in the market, the strategy, all strategies work. Obviously, there's a line in the sand. It's got to be a strategy. You just can't pick something out of the blue. It's got to be something that's at least had a little bit of tried and tested. But if you trade them properly, and you don't trade on emotions, you should make money. So we kind of know it, but it's having that self-belief. But I have it to a degree now. I still try and push the boat out a little bit too much. But I do believe now when I do things the right way, my accounts grow. And as long as I don't do something stupid, I get to a payment level. There's no way I'd have got payments every month for the last 5 months in a row just out of pure luck. You won't get lucky for 5 months in a row. Maybe once or twice, but not 5 months in a row. So, you do get to the stage where you're thinking, actually, I can do this, but I need to just tighten those emotions up. And if they still are affecting me, reduce that risk a little bit. I know what to do. Yeah. I can't tell you, a year or so ago, how many times I got within $50 or $100 of a payment, and I tried to squeeze it and it went against me. And when you're very close, your emotions are at the highest because you're that close, you can almost smell the dollars. And when you take a risky trade, you almost self-sabotage. You're angry with yourself, and that makes you lash out. And unfortunately, when you do lash out, you lash it out of the market, and often you either get lucky and get away with it, and I had my fair share of luck, or you end up losing even more, and often that creates a spiral and you end up blowing the account. Whereas if you just think, I'll let the money come when it's ready, and just focus and wait for those trades, it will happen. It may take a little bit longer, but that's okay. Because if you're not prepared to accept that little bit of extra day or maybe a week, you're going to spend that many months and years blowing accounts. You might as well have traded one micro when you'd have been earning money. So after a while, you do start to think, actually, I need to start practicing what I preach. I need to start just thinking, sod the money. Let's just wait for a trade. It's a very simple formula. Wait for a setup, take a setup, forget it and move on. It doesn't get any more simple. But following that procedure, when there's motions involved, make it so much harder. But when you do it again and again and again and again and again and again and again, sooner or later it does start to sink in, which is why I had that break at Christmas, and I kind of forced myself to think, look, if I'm ever going to do this, I could either spend the next 12 months throwing money away, or I could just try following the rules. And I did it, and I got paid, and I got paid the next month, and I got paid the next month. I still do stupid things, but very, very rarely now with my bunch of accounts with money in, When I get new accounts, I still take risks trying to get a bit greedy. But I am trying to knock that on the head. But, you know, when you can get to that level, everything then should start to fall into place. You know, you're still going to take losses. It doesn't matter who you are. But when you start to go, oh, there's no point in worrying about it. I might as well just carry on and do it. There's no point in taking risks because 8 times out of 10, it leads to blown accounts. And if you're winning 20% of the time, 1 for 1, you wouldn't make any money. You might as well give up. Breach. Was good to hear that. Yeah, you know, there's a saying in the UK, if you bang your head against you've heard me say it a million times, if you bang your head against a brick wall enough times, you realise it hurts. You know, but people are stubborn. You know, I'm one of the worst for being stubborn and refusing, you know, to fold. I think if I have a stronger will than the market, it'll bend over for me. The fact is, the market won't bend over for anyone. You know, you get given a set of bars. If you don't have a setup, you don't have a setup. It doesn't matter whether you're the best trader in the world. The market isn't going to get easier for you. It's going to treat you exactly the same as it treats the guy who's been doing it 20 years or the guy that's been doing it 2 weeks. Was that a fail second entry short? Yeah. The trouble is, fail second entry shorts are better when they're triggering a good short bar to trap traders. There's no traders going to go short there. So second entry short, but it's a bullish bar. So there's no traders going to be going short there. What you want is a bearish bar to come down and trap traders to push up and stop them out. But there's nothing on here. A little bit better. But we've had a channel here and we've already made 2 highs. So if this is a channel, it may come down and test this. If this is a channel, it may come down and test this. So going long at the moment is not something I want to do. I would prefer something like a lower high. Now, at the moment, it's quite random. It's bouncing up. So I haven't got a real strong sense of direction. My gut feeling tells me it's more likely to come down and test these lows, but I'm not confident enough to take a trade short. I send him to sleep outside. You know, I even had my wife with me. She had a bit of time off, and I said, "Look, I got a proposition for you. You sit next to me when I trade. It's only a few hours a day, and stop me from revenge trading. And if it works, we'll make money. You don't need to go out to work." And I was revenge trading right in front of her eyes, and she didn't have a clue what I was doing. But you know, I mean, I think it's a good idea to trade side by side. But I mean, if you've got a buddy who trades the same way, I think that's quite a good idea to do it right next to somebody. It helps me when you guys are watching me, because if I take a stupid trade, it makes me feel stupid. So that is the main focus why I started to stream. Because if someone's over your shoulder looking at you, you're a lot less likely to do something stupid because you're going to feel stupid. If no one's watching you, you can do whatever you want, can't you? Take whatever risks you want. So that was my main reason for streaming. But yeah, but I think after a while, it does take a lot longer than you think. You'd think as adults, we'd have learnt the lessons, wouldn't we? But because of the emotional connection, it just it almost makes you go back to childhood, doesn't it? So looking at this here, we've got we've got a triple test here. The issue I have, if this is a channel, I'd expect a new low, so it may trap longs there. And same here, my gut is telling me it's coming down, but I'm not confident enough to take a trade based on that. Otherwise, you know, I'd be going short and cutting this triple test lot out. But it's quite random, the market. It's not really giving us any kind of, you know, shapes. I have my own system, so just me. Yeah, there's so many different ways. Whatever it is that works, you've got to do it. But my opinion, I've read so many books and people say you need to trade without emotions, you need to journal, you need to do this. None of it's worked. My only answer is you need to do it enough times till it starts to become a normal everyday occurrence, like a normal job. You know, if you do something where you've got a lot of emotions for the first time, it's gonna stress you, it's gonna panic you. But if you do it every single day, sooner or later it becomes a normal part of your everyday life, and it doesn't affect you as much. You know, I've said that a million times, but that's the only conclusion I can come to, and it makes perfect sense. But I've never heard anybody else ever in any books describing it in that way. It makes perfect sense. You know, you as I've said before, you throw yourself out of a plane, you're going to panic. You know, I remember the first time I sat in a plane ready to jump out, thinking every excuse I could get out of this. 200 jumps later, the fear doesn't even play a part. You just get on with it because you've done it so many times. Like, you know, the first time I got into a plane, it was weird. I remember having dreams and nightmares leading up to my first jump. It was weird. Talk about emotions. I was sweating, dry in the mouth. I could hardly speak. And I literally was thinking, how can I get out of this? But you know, you sign up for it. You just got to do it, haven't you? Very tempting to go short here. There is a second entry short here, but it is still choppy. My gut feeling it is going to come down, but until we push down and give us a breakout pullback, I can't go long here at the moment, just in case I'm wrong. Waiting for a new tariff idea for, don't mention tariffs. In fact, things have quietened down at the moment. I'm not exactly sure why. I believe there's temporary pauses or holds put on them. You don't know whether he's blowing hot air when he first came into power, swinging his weight around a bit. I suppose, you know, sometimes when you take over, you stamp your authority on stuff. So who knows? Who knows? So we've had a little breakout at the bottom here, but we're pushing back up. So it'd be interesting to see if this triggers and starts to work down and gives us a lower high. My gut feeling is it's still probably going to go down and test these lows, but I'm not super confident. I mean, that's quite a strong buy off there. So there's a possible failure on here. 2 legs down, second entry long, which is triggered. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. I'd like this to trigger. You could say 2 legs down, second entry long, so it may shoot up or it may come down. Having said that, it could just still be kind of ranging at the moment. So whether you call that overnight highs or this, but it's somewhere around about there. We do seem to be pushing up and getting rejected. Let's see if we get rejected again. But is this a channel? It's not the best looking channel in the world. It doesn't look terrible. It fits actually kind of nice at the midline. I mean, if it breaks above this, it could absolutely drop. There's just, you know, I'm saying could or maybe. They're just kind of an educated guess. So 1, 2, 3 triple test. See what happens here. 1, 2, 3 triple test. 1, 2. So we've had a channel with a break. 1, 2, 3 attempts. If we get a real bearish bar here or a lower high, that might not be a terrible idea. But at the moment, nothing we can really do. We have got a bearish bar at the top, but it's triggered and it looks like it's trying to push higher. So, I mean, we have cleared any possible liquidity and dropped down, and this is closed on its low, but look, it's triggered and it's starting to push up. So maybe this thing is going to push up. Or are we going to trigger this higher low and then drop? Disco, how you doing, buddy? So channel with a break and a new high. I was hoping we'd tick above there, because that may trap a few long traders. There's a bit of support there, which we do seem to be bounce, bounce, bounce. You can see that along there, can't you? We've had two bounces. We went up a little bit. We've pushed through it, but we're kind of hitting it and rejecting, or at least at the moment. Speedy, how you doing, my friend? Yeah, see, Dan's changed his chart now to this. Channel with a new low. Yeah, see, either way worked. But it's very random, isn't there? There's no real sort of symmetry in any way, really, is there? So that bullish higher low there has triggered. Let's see what happens, see if this comes down. Trouble is, with that bearish bar there, we cleared any liquidity. So if this thing was going to come down, I would have thought it would have come down from that, but it didn't. It pushed up, even though all this liquidity had been eaten up. It pushed up, it's gone sideways, now it's going up. So this may be going up. Usually, if it's having a bit of a liquidity sweep, it clears all this, not that there was much above there, and then does that. Drops, but then it's triggered and pushed up some more. So I'm not sure I really know. Well, I've been going for 45 minutes. Okay, folks, while this is making its mind up, I'm just going to take a quick 5-minute break. My mouth is dry. I'll be about 3 to 5 minutes and I'll be back. So maybe this is 2 legs up and we come down. This is interesting, this. Let me just kill that. Oh, you're long, are you? This push-up, correction, push-up. So what I'm looking for, it's going to push up too much, I think, isn't it? So we got a leg down, 2 attempts. Shall I see what happens? I like the fact that that's a nice wide section between these legs. Longer 53.25, are you? So you're longer about here. Where are you taking it to? 60.25. Are you going to get there? I mean, you've got a bearish bar right in the middle of nowhere there, so my gut feeling is it's probably going to push up and stop that out, and I'm guessing you're probably more or less where you want to be. Is it going to push up? More than likely, yeah. It's just hard to know whether it's going to come back a bit before it eventually does, but this is that kind of double bar channel that I talk about sometimes. Every time you get a bearish bar, if you buy it and push it up, mind you, if you go in at 53 here, you're going to be at least at break even, I'm guessing, aren't you, if you haven't already come out by now. I mean, really, even if you got in below there or something, at least you've secured something. My Apex eval did well. My $7,000. It just rocketed up. I'm only gutted I didn't do a 150,000 one. Let's have a look. See who else is up today.
Able to get.
How's Alpine doing today? Let's have a look. He's got some massive profits today. How the hell did he get them? Oh, sorry. That's total, isn't it, I think? Total profit, my mistake, let's say. Nutty has taken a day off again today. That's a sensible idea, I think. Got to clear that head before you come back. He'll be all right. Okay, so yeah, it did push up. So you'd have got your points there, I think, buddy. You're done, are you? Yeah, well, old. To be fair, a bearish bar like that floating in the middle of nowhere is likely to get stopped out anyway. You know, I'm guessing we've had that leg up. We're quite likely going to get another leg anyway. There's a bunch of liquidity here, so my guess is probably going to clear that out. I mean, you know, whether it goes any higher or not, but yeah, where's your stop around about here, is it? So what did you get in? 53, didn't you? So you got in, what am I doing? You got on about 53. Did you say 53? 53.25. So you're around about here anyway. So that's where your order was. So I'm guessing you're up here somewhere, aren't you, with your stop? Was it 53.25? So you're around about there. So, I mean, even if you've got your stop up there, you've secured yourself, or even here or something, you could secure yourself 5 points, can't you? And then depends how much you want to get back. So it's gone up a total of 7.5. Yeah, if you got yourself 5.5, or even down here. It's that thing, isn't it? You never quite know where it's going to go. I often see traders thinking, take the money now, take the money now. And then 5-10 minutes later, it's gone up another 7 or 8 points. So it's kind of swings and roundabouts. Sometimes it will go straight up. Other times it'll come down and get you. There's no... But what I will say is I've heard really good traders described as, by other good traders will get out of a bad trade quickly and milk a good trade for everything it's got. In other words, they'll be, you know, they'll have their stock back here. They won't, you know, give it all away. But trouble is, if you get out now, that's what you've made. If you put your stop here, you may follow it up right to the top. So you never quite know. So there's no right way and wrong way to get out of a trade. It's very much a personal thing. Have you got the nerve to sit in here? You know what I mean? If you've secured 5 points, you might go, great, I'm happy with 5 points. If we can get another 5 points, great. If we can get another 10 points, great. So, you know, I suppose you've got to do it the way you feel comfortable doing it. And there's no one that can say, oh, I'd get out now, I would, because... Yeah, you may get out now, but it may go up for another 10 or 15 points. So, you know. But when we've had this and it gets above here and it holds, you know, the automatic thing to do is to do the legs. So you know there's liquidity up here. So once it's cleared out this liquidity, it's more or less at that measured leg anyway. So that's when you may decide to tighten your stop. Because if we get up here, we're a fair away from the EMA, so you know, so it's broken through a few of those now. So you know that might be a good time to do that. You know what I mean? At least then you've guaranteed yourself kind of where do we say around about? You've guaranteed yourself 7.25. You may get a bit more. You may jump out now, but it may go above that and continue on higher. But it's kind of working out where you think it's likely to go before it may have a little pullback. And this is an area here where, you know, this could be the highs of the day. This could be the high point. So if, you know, people may decide to get in here, a big push down, a little bit of congestion, eventually goes thinking we may get that move for the rest of the day. But it is a personal thing. 7 point stop. Yeah. Yeah, trouble is, if you get out now, you may miss out on another 10 or 15 points. You just never really know, really. I think it's probably a lot to do with how comfortable you are. But I definitely think it's good to secure, because you never quite know what's going to be tweeted these days. You know, all of a sudden, now and again, the market will decide to shoot off in a direction. So at least if you've, you know, secured here or here, at least... you know, you've given yourself some guaranteed profit. So it doesn't really matter what it does, you know, to a degree. I mean, if you were holding it and we had the CPI, Just because you've guaranteed 4 points doesn't mean you're going to get it. So, but normal day-to-day stuff that may come out as a tweet or whatever tends to just flick the market a little bit. But now we're above all this. I mean, common sense would say we've cleared out liquidity now. So if this was moving out, people above this liquidity are probably going to be thinking about taking profits lightly. And often that leads to kind of a bit of a leg back. But there's no guarantees. We've got kind of a spike and channel there. So actually fits quite nice. Hey, Kenny, how you doing, buddy? Or afternoon for me. That's what I love about trading US markets in the UK. You don't have to get out to bed till at least midday. I know some of you guys on the West Coast or you know, I mean, it's really early, isn't it? What are you, 8 hours behind us? So 2:30 in the morning. What's that, 6? Is that right? It's 2:30. It's about 6:30, isn't it? In the mornings. That's not terrible. I'm certainly well awake anyway. I can get up, have a shower, do what I got to do a bit of shopping, go to the gym, and so on. I mean, I normally now get to the chart an hour early. I know Mac usually trades from the equivalent, I think, about 1:30 UK time. Fun times. Got a long track fitting more. Did you? Yeah. Yeah, I think Mac usually trades from, I think, about 1 to 1:30 UK time, especially on, I will say, sometimes you get some really good setups on the range chart. But obviously we had the CPI. It's weird, isn't it, on the CPI? If you look at this area here, to that area there, all these bars there happened in about 1 second. Because these bars move every 12 ticks, we make a new bar, and this thing shot up. So if you look at the times, there's 1:30 UK time there. So, well, you can see that 1:30 and 1:30. So literally that whole section there, you know, moved in a matter of a second, straight up, straight down, straight up, and then it quietened down. So it's quite weird to see this moving, actually. Whereas obviously with this, one bar at 1:30, but this whole section from there to there is 1:30. So yeah, it's just quite weird. Looking at 3 levels of VWAP divergence, especially during overnight session, very accurate. Yeah, it's a minefield trading. There's so many different ways to trade and to look at the markets. You know, it's like anything. You could try the 1,000-tick chart for one day and get some fantastic setups, and you get nothing on the 2,000. Equally with the 500 or the, you know, 1 minute the NQ's good. This, you know, 1 minute this is good. I think they're all got their merits, really. But I do kind of like these two together. You know, they kind of make sense. Anyway, so we've got a spike and a channel. We haven't quite got up to that measured move yet, and we've had a little bit of a break. So, do I think this is going to push up? No idea, in all honesty. You're going on a sim now. I don't want to give back. Yeah, nothing worse than giving it back, mate. I'd rather lose it straight rather than give it back. You know, I mean, there's always a possibility this could come down. You got a channel down here like this, 2 legs up, you never know. It could be a correction, but it's hard to say. Have we got a larger channel up there? I don't think we have. So Thomas Wade's got that as a channel. Maybe. Let's have a look. Yeah, that doesn't look too bad actually. So leg down, leg down. Trouble is, this just doesn't, it's just random. There's no, you can't, you can't pick anything out really. It's very random. And when it is random like this, it's hard to kind of work out where you think price is going to go. Big leg down. May just be the first one. Yeah, that's the trouble really. You can have a leg down here with a correction. It's just hard to know. It looks a little better on here, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's right. I mean, if you look at this, this does make sense. Bounce, 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 bounce. Working nice at the top. We've had a break. But I don't trust this to be enough to make good, strong decisions on this just at the moment. Especially when it's a bit unclear. I mean, this is more or less a range day, but the movement is random. At least that movement makes sense. It's continuously working up. It's working off the bottom and working to the top. It's all over the shop. So you can't really trade this comfortably at the moment. Or confidently, rather. So that's okay. If I can get 3 good trades a week, 3 good winning trades, that'll make me a ton of money. So there's no rush. Worst thing to do is thinking you're running out of time. Did I not take a trade yesterday? I don't think I did I? I don't think I did. So we got a channel fitting nice up there with a break and an attempt at a new high. In fact, there is a flat area there which it's bounced off. I'd have preferred 2 legs, but the fact that it's already tried to make a new high made me a bit nervous. There is a higher low there, but this is possibly a little bit sideways, so it could trigger it and come down. Okay, so channel with a break, new low. Trouble is, we've already made an attempt to make a new high there after this break. But there is a bigger channel going on here, quite possibly. So if we can get 2 legs down and bounce strong down here. But we have cleared out all this liquidity here, so the next place is up here. Second entry long off the triple test. Think you scares you. Yeah, you, me both, mate. That's for real men. I'm clearly not one at the moment. For real men or madmen, whichever. No, it just moves a bit too quick for me. I tend to prefer things a little bit quieter. Uh, 1 minute or 1,000 ticks. I've not traded much in the way of time frames, as in minutes, hours, that type of thing. I think you'd have to if you traded this overnight. Trouble is, you just don't get enough movement in this to trade this overnight. So, I mean, market opens about 11 o'clock UK time. If you traded it for 12 hours, that would take you up to about here. So that's it. Not much you can do with that, really. So you need really to trade. Yeah, I mean, if you traded, that's the movement you've got for 12 hours. So if you went down to 500 tick shot, you'd obviously have 4 times that. If you went down to a minute or 2 minutes, obviously, considerably more. So, yeah, you couldn't. What I think they consider the Asian hours or Asian time frame or something like that. But the 2,000 tick chart, there's just not enough traders there, really. Obviously, the US brings a large amount of traders in. Certainly, certainly on the institutional line for starters. That's without the US retail traders. So, is this a leg down and a leg down we're going to push up? I'd like to get down below here, which I think we may have done, or have we just? No, we haven't as yet. Now we have, so 2 legs down. Would I want to go long here just yet? It's hard to say. We've cleared out a lot of this equality, so that may be enough. We didn't get close to that measured move. Are we going higher? It's hard to say, really. You know, we've had a break of the channel and we have made an attempt to push higher, so that may be close enough. We'll see. So any liquidity there is gone. That is a matching, I think. No, not quite. Let's see what happens here. I mean, there is kind of a second entry on this range chart, but I just don't like it. If that finishes up, it's quite sideways. And this is an inside bar, so it's not strong enough for me. I mean, it may continue up, who knows, but I mean, you could bring that out a touch. Fit just enough, but just going to leave it where it is for now. I just don't like that. So second entry long has triggered, but it's stacked up here. So we're very close to that measured move. So okay, so that's Mac's chart pretty much arranged. He's got that separate. I mean, we've got that anyway, so I think the overall is not so important. So he's got that, a little bit of sideways, and I've put a larger channel out just to see if, but I think it's irrelevant anyway, really. That's the main one, which he's got there. He's got a small break here, new high, 2 more attempts. It's hard to say at the moment, really, but trouble is his chart might look like that now. It may change soon. This is not bad, but slow. Never traded those. I've traded all before. There was a bunch of us went for a stage of doing that. Who was it? Someone off Mac's forum that started trading it and mentioned it, and a few others started to look at it. It's like anything, you can pick any chart for a day and it can look fantastic. So there is a second entry long here, but it is stacked up, and here as well. I wouldn't be interested in long. There's nothing to trade long here at the moment. So Joe have a different instrument, 6 monitors. Yeah, he does. He trades NQ as well, doesn't he? I have tried. The trouble is I end up focusing on one more than the other, so it kind of becomes no kind of benefit, really. What tick did you have to trade gold on? Who trades gold? Not me. Oh, Karina. No, it doesn't at the moment, mate, does it? It's not doing a great deal, really. It's certainly no real... I mean, at the moment, we're kind of doing this, but what happens when we get to here? Does it continue out? Does it drop down? Okay, so measured movement. Unfortunately, there's no trade here. There is a second entry long there, but I believe that to be a bit congested. So if it's looking like that, I'm just not interested. It is a little bit sideways. And not only that, I like to at least look at the normal 2000 tick chart and saying, is there a long entry here? For me, we have had 2 legs back, but I wouldn't really trade anything here, so I decided to leave it. If it had been a bit close to that EMA or it dropped out the bottom of there, I may have had a go. Sean, how you doing? Yeah. The thing about this, it always finishes on its highs or its lows. That's the one thing. But I have a little bar chart here which counts it. So when it gets to 12 ticks, I know if it breaks above that bar or below it, it's going to move into a new bar. But, you know, sometimes trades look fantastic on here and they always seem to work. Push up there, 1, 2, 3 triple test, worked. Start to go sideways here. Any bearish bar off that top, including that one, worked. The lower high worked. The second entry long failure worked. You may go 1, 2, 3 triple, I don't know, triple test, fail breakout worked. Second entry long worked. You may go, we had 2 legs up, we had 1, 2, 3 triple test, high low worked. Trouble is, in hindsight, it's kind of easy. You could see we had a bunch of bounces there. If you'd have taken that one, or that one, they all worked. And it's easy to say that when you can see how it worked, but you know, in real time, you've got that emotional factor, which you don't have when you look at a chart afterwards. So we've had a little breakout, we've had a pullback, and we've possibly got a higher low here. Trouble is, measured moves made exactly, so I wouldn't want to be going along. Hey Tony, how you doing, buddy? I wouldn't want to go along just in case we get some sort of pullback now. Is this going to continue up? Yeah, it may do, but I'm not sure. Let's just try this again now. We seem to be finding a bit of support there, so maybe that is okay. Touch, 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 possibly a high low. I'm not super stoked about it, but let's kill the colour so it's an area of interest as opposed to a valid channel. Not an easy day again. What have I been buying? Nothing, bud. Nothing as of yet. Expenses went up. Oh, a few evaluations, mate. I took, did I take 4? Blue 3, pass 1. Yeah, sorry, mate, I forgot about that. So looking at that, Dan actually took that trade there. He took that long there. Well, it is 2 legs back, isn't it? Trouble is, after this, he had that slightly different first, so you don't know whether it is going to come down and test those lows. But it worked anyway. I will say there's going to be shorts there quite lightly. Second entry short there, so I suppose pushes up, tickers above here, comfortably gives him his 6 ticks. Yeah, CPI budget. I went for $3,000, got 6,800. I traded on the NQ. You got to have less of a move. I put it about here somewhere, and it just rocketed through it. Yeah, when it works well. Sometimes what I've started doing is giving it a little bit more of a space. Sometimes you'll get a bit of a whiplashing effect. It'll shoot up, come down, maybe clear out a few of these before it goes off in its direction. Obviously, that did the complete opposite. It just crossed over and woof, went straight up. Now, obviously, it didn't go straight up. It went up a bit, pulled back a bit, whatever it was. But we didn't have that whiplash. Sometimes it'll drop down here, maybe trigger one, then stop you out. But I found if I give it a little bit more space, you tend to stay out of that initial little bit of a whipping motion. Sometimes it just goes off in one direction, but other times it tends to flick up and down a bit first. Is it only? I'm assuming it's just once a month CPI, isn't it? It's the only thing that I can recall that moves so much that has usually the biggest movement. There's very little else that kind of does that. Certainly with that much. What was that one bar? So 35 and a half points. So yeah, I mean, you've only got to get 6 of those if you do it on here, which is a small amount actually. 6 1/4 to push through. So that moves all you really need. NQ, it's more like that. So that's why I tend to trade on the NQ. It tends to pass it a bit easier, especially if it goes quickly in a direction. You just trade them alongside. Yeah, you've got exactly the right answer, mate. That's the best way to do it. You know, I don't even mind going for a few more contracts, maybe go for 3 contracts, speed it up just a touch. At least trading it with 3 contracts, you're not going to do yourself enough damage, you know, to blow it really. But, you know, even sometimes when I'm trading aggressively, I'll trade it on 5 contracts. But then as soon as it starts to move, I'll often jump back in. And the trouble is you can get triggered, make profit and get stopped out within 1 bar. So, I've got to stop doing it that way because it's just throwing money on it, really. It's a roulette wheel, isn't it, that's heavily weighted against you. So I think what I'm just going to start doing is just to doing the same trading, but maybe just put an extra contract or 2 on top. Maybe go for 3 contracts. I go for a point now, 3 points, 3 contracts, about $450. You get that 6.5, 7 times. You've got where you need to be. John, how you doing, my friend? I haven't seen you for a while. How you doing? Just came back from a vacation in Japan. Fantastic. I very nearly went to Japan once years ago. Came out with 2 surprise emails from Apex. No more evals. 5 days of trading journal to submit. Are you kidding? As long as that's all you do and nothing else, once is okay. If they did it again, I'd say it's time to move on. When you send the emails, it says their email is full. I don't know. I know I'm seeing these pop-ups all the time. I showed you one the other day. We'll trade your account for you. I think that's happening a lot. I don't know what the factor that they use. Where's the one I took a photo of? I don't know for what reasons they use or what their category is for making those decisions. Where's the I took a photo, didn't I, the other day? Can't find it now. I am seeing more and more of them. We'll trade your contract. We'll trade your account for you. Yeah, that one there. We pass your prop firm challenge. Risk limited up to 50% off. Fully guaranteed by contract, secure, 13 years experience. Yeah, a lot of people are trading a lot of other people's accounts, so they obviously don't want that happening. So I'm guessing that's the only reason I could think of why they're doing it. Best thing to do is not panic. If you panic and give in, it'll work in their favour. If you do things the right way, you'll get your money. You'll get the benefits, not them. So don't let them win, mate. Just trade it normally. Send in your stuff. Comply. They can't refuse you then. So there is a second entry short here, which is triggered. This looks like, no, I don't know. It's hard to say at the moment. Looks like a breakout pullback. No, it's not super clear. So we shall see. Yeah, I mean, I've been denied payouts, but I kind of knew they were going to happen. I think if you break the rule or you go a little bit more, if I've had a bad day on one, sometimes I've taken a risk on one. So if I've been denied, I usually know it. Well, I do know it. In fact, there was one that I got. I didn't get denied, and I'm surprised I wouldn't, because I took a big risk on it, and I withdrew, I think, $500, and they still paid me. So I don't know what exactly their criteria is. There is a failure there. Trouble is, we're clearly finding some support at that measured move, so I don't want to go long in case it triggers me and drops down and gives a lower high, and down it comes. Yeah, it is. Trouble is, there's no room. You're already at the highs, really, of this move, and the fact that you can see we're clearly finding some support here. It's hard to go long into there, because it may trigger you and then give you a lower high, come down, stop that out, stop that out, stop that out, and you know what I mean? But as we've made 2 pushes up in a measured move, and not only that, this midline as well. Well, it depends whether this is even accurate anyway. But yeah, and not only that, there's 5 bars stacked side by side, so that's also an alarm. It's just not worth it. This is, for me, as a toss of a coin. It may push up or it may come down. Put it this way, there's going to be a lot more liquidity to the lower side of this than there is above here, and all that liquidity is quite a bit above that EMA here. So I would think it's more likely going to get benefit from coming down. So and obviously I wouldn't take anything here. I got no idea what's going on here. It does look like it's going up a bit, but toss of a coin this, whether it goes up or comes down. My Traderify accounts, I'm trading one of them. I've got 5 accounts of them. I'm trading one of them with 2 contracts and the other 4 with just 1 contract. The 4 of them are around the 500 to 600, and the one of them is just over $1,000. I do like Traderify. It's not as expensive as it kind of first seemed. When you get the discount, and I work out how many evaluations I blow and the frustration that comes with it, and then by the time you've paid the $140, there's no real difference. At least then you're straight into a live account. I do like the fact they've got end of day drawdown. So if you do go for a little bit more profits, or you get close to whatever, it doesn't affect your drawdown until obviously the end of the day. $50K direct pass. It's 33% off, so it is. So it's 509 minus 33% equals. So 341. So if you think, let's say for instance, with me, I usually do 4 evals and blow 3 of them and pass 1. So 4 evals are what? 140. Plus you spend another 140. So you're talking 280. So there's only $60 more. But when you get your Apex account to $3,000, you can withdraw $900. When you get your Tradeify account to $3,000, you can withdraw $2,000. And with the end of day drawdown, I like that. So it's looking like this is likely to push up, but the trouble is it's a bit choppy and this thing could quickly flush down. The trouble is when it goes up marginally but sideways, often you'll get traders getting in long and this thing will have a quick flush down and clear all this. So I'm just sitting out of this. This looks a bit dangerous to get in long here. It may work. If it gets above here, then fine, but it's going sideways and very slightly up, so there's going to be liquidity there and liquidity down here. Even more on this range bar, so I won't be surprised if this thing has a quick drop. So it may go up, it's hard to say really, but I'm not super confident of anything at the moment. So not only that, this could be a fail breakout. It kind of looks a bit rangy, doesn't it, here? We've had a push up, we pull back in, maybe another attempt, and then down again. So this is just not looking very strong to me, like this is going to push up. And that's what I was afraid of. Clears out all this. Even more there, you cleared out a stop there, and I'm guessing that's quite a bit off the EMA, possibly below there as well. Whenever it does that, let's see if it drops below there. Yeah, it did. So second entry long up here, if you bought off this 2 legs back, it just cleared everything out. Yeah, whenever it goes up really slowly with a bit of sideways, it often just sucks in longs and then flushes them all out, which is really annoying. So if that's a channel, we get 2 attempts to push lower. I may have a go long there, it's hard to say. But But this is just sucking in traders. You can see it there, longs there, longs there. Maybe you're thinking, oh, look, triple test, let's get long here. All of a sudden, that's gone, and that's gone in one quick foul swoop. Now, look at this. We've got a channel down, 2 attempts to push higher. Is this now coming down to test these lows? It's hard to say, isn't it, really? It could be, is the answer. It's hard to say. It's very easy to get focused on one direction. All of a sudden, something can change. How did you come up with the idea of using range charts? It wasn't me, mate. Someone else mentioned it on the stream that said they'd been using range bars and they were taking a few trades. So I think a bunch of people started looking at it. And it kind of looks good. Some days it looks very good and very clear. It does tend to clear up a lot of the mess. So I'm just kind of looking at it, and if I see anything obvious and it correlates with the similar picture that I'm looking here, I'll have a go. But what I like about it is every single one of these bars are exactly 3 points. So if I put a tick above, I know exactly my risk is 3.5 points every time. So it gives you the ability to fix your profit, really. Whereas trading the 2000 tick chart, you never know where you're going to get a 2-point bar or a 5-point bar. You know, it's very hard to manage risk. But I like this. It looks good. You know, there is a second entry long there, and that worked. And Dan took that trade off there, and it kind of looked like 2 legs back, and up it went strongly. It does, yeah. There's a bit of a learning curve, but, you know, just have a look through it, and at the end of the day, just mark it up and see how many setups. You know, but it does look good. You know, it's not a magic bullet, but if you can get an extra couple of trades on this a week, clear trades, it all helps to, you know, to build in your tally for the week. You know, when I'm patient here and waiting for good setups, I mean, I've been sitting here now for how long? An hour 40 minutes. I haven't seen anything that tickled me fancy. Nothing yesterday either. So the trouble is, the longer you sit here, the more sometimes your patience can be affected. So I like the opportunity to look at this as well, because, you know, sometimes it's quite clear. It's just about having some extra strings to your bow, really, isn't it? That hopefully can help you out a bit. So we've got a leg down there with a break and a new low. So we've cleared out a ton of liquidity. If this channel's valid, we've got a channel with a break, new low, bounced off the midline. It may push up to these highs. And I say may at the moment because it's very random in its mood. It's up, it's down. Sometimes it goes sideways. It's not giving us any clear direction. And unless you've got clear direction, you don't know whether to go long or short. Regardless of whether it looks like a setup, if the direction's going in the opposite way, then it's kind of no good to us. But that does look like a channel. A few others are looking at that as well. So if we do manage to push up strongly, and maybe we trap some shorts thinking this thing's coming down, we may get something. We've had a channel with a break and a new low. If we can get a second entry short here, that may trap some shorts thinking this is a single channel and we're going to be going down. But that doesn't look too bad to me. So we'll see. I mean, just to give you a quick example, mate, this is a chart I marked a week, 2 weeks ago, week and a half, 2 weeks ago. Where is it? Done with them. Okay, have a look at this. I haven't sent a chart looking this clear. Where was it? That's it, yeah. This was a chart that I marked up at the end of the day. It was about, okay, 16th of May, so about 3 weeks ago. So let me just just move that up a bit larger here. But look at that. So we've got a channel down here. 1, 2, 3, triple test. We've broken above all this stuff. We've broken above all this. Nice triple test, worked. Another one I'd have taken. 1, 2, 3. Another triple test, worked. Push down. 1, 2, 3. Another triple test, worked. Look how nice that looks. Clearly moving up now. 2 perfect legs down. Bullish bar. Off it took. A little range. Second entry long. And a failed breakout. Right off the key entry point. Took off. And there was a bunch down here. Channel break, new low. There was a higher low. That worked. Higher low off here. That worked. We got a channel with a break, new high. 2 attempts to go lower. And we pushed up. We had a higher low there. Trapping shorts. That worked. So just... it's super clear and super clean. Now, look how nice when you get a channel. How nice these setups are. You just don't get setups like that on the ES. It's not always like this, but sometimes it's super clear. And the way I see it is if it gives me an extra couple of trades a week, clear trades. So that was one. There was one. Let me have a look. Was this another one? That's the same one, wasn't it? Yeah, it was the same. Or was it? No, this is a different one. This is a different one. So look at this here. We got 2 legs down, 1, 2, 3 attempts to push higher, clearly 2 legs up, pushed above this, cleared out all this liquidity, and look how well that triple test worked. Bounce, 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 channel break, new low, clearly 2 perfect legs down and a triple test, strong bounce off here, and it rocketed up. We got 2 attempts to push higher. We got, 2 clear legs up, or a bigger leg and a bigger leg, cleared out all this liquidity and dropped straight down. Channel up with a break, higher low, maybe the failure I marked there, second entry short, which triggered and failed. And same here, channel up, second entry long, higher low. This was another day, I forget what day this was. So it's definitely worth looking at it. It's not great all the time, but if you get, like I say, if it gives you a little bit of an extra few trades here or there, it's worth looking at, which is why I kind of like the 2. So this looks to me like it's pushing up to test these highs. But it's hard to say at the moment. It's just very random, isn't it? Yeah, just start having a look at them, if anything. If it interests you, just mark them up at the end of the day and see if you get a feel for it. But you can set this to whatever you want. I've tried it on the 10 range bar, and all the 12 is for how many ticks? It just means one bar will go for 12 ticks, and then as soon as we tick above it or below it, it'll start form a new bar. So the good thing is, every bar's 3 points, so it helps you manage your risk a bit. So it's got multiple benefits to it, to be honest with you. This thing looks like it's about ready to drop. Sorry, MK, I didn't notice your comment there, mate. How much are you paying for your Traderify account? So I've got 5 on my at the moment. So they're 509 with 33% off. So $341. Now, normally it's 140. Well, at the moment it's $140 for the PA fee for Apex. So if you're spending $200, if you're doing 5 evaluations and blowing a bunch of them and passing one, which I tend to do, it works out no difference in price to me. But what I like about them is if you get your Apex account up to $3,000, you can take $900. If you get your Traderify account up to $3,000, you can take $2,000. So an end of day drawdown, I like. So I like them at the moment. I like the idea. It is refreshing just to jump straight onto a soft breach 1250. So do you get liquidated if you breach? It's a soft breach, so no, you got a 2,000 drawdown. So if it's a soft breach, it just means you get liquidated for the day, but that's not a bad thing. It stops you blowing it in one day. But as you're paying for it, you tend to treat it with a bit more respect. I certainly am. No. It's just a one-off payment. You just pay it and that's it. You're on a live account then. No, it's just a one-off fee. It takes you straight to a funded account. But when I get my accounts, I got 5 accounts. When I get them to $3,000, I can take $10,000 out. There is a 90-10 split, so you lose 10%, but that still makes it 1,800 that you get, which is double what you can get on Apex when you get to 3,000. So it is refreshing just to. Now, obviously, you've got to have the money to do it. Now, I've obviously made money at trading, which is why I decided to buy them. So they're not for everyone. But if you can make money out of some accounts, it's not a bad addition to add to it, I think. I just picked 5 up, so it cost me $1,250, something like that. In fact, it was 35% off when I did it. It's 33. It's not a huge difference, but then I'm straight on to a live account. I do hate evaluations, I've got to say, because they're so cheap. I treat them just silly, I do. Hopefully, more companies go straight to live. Whether they do or not, I don't know, but I certainly think it's a good addition if you can hold accounts, of course. So we've got a channel break, new high. So is this a channel? Are we going higher? Quite possibly. If we can get second entry long from here, that might not be a bad option. Okay, just going to take a quick bathroom break. I'll be just a minute. Okay. So channel break new high. Second entry long, it would have to be a higher low, unfortunately. I wouldn't just want to take this, I don't think. Just in case. It's very random, the market today. You've got to wait for obviously a strong signal to temporarily go in a certain direction, but at the moment it's just random. That channel has clearly played out, however you're looking at it, somewhere along those lines. Channel break new high, lower high, it's worked. See if we get any rejection here, but I wouldn't just take a second entry long because it's just, I don't know where it's going at the moment. It would have to be a higher low indicating we are likely pushing up, but the way that's closed, it's not very encouraging. I've got to say, I'm quite happy not taking a trade if you don't get a setup, because I know I've done a good job. If you get no setups and you're patient enough to do nothing, I look upon that as a plus. Doesn't frustrate me taking a trade. It used to. I'm quite happy not to now because I know I've done what I'm supposed to. The more, the more days I go where I don't do anything stupid, I'm in a good place. Yeah, I mean, this isn't making any sense really, is it? We're clearly going sideways, but there's no real sense of direction. I wouldn't be surprised if Mac has something odd like that. Touch, close enough. Touch. Look how it's working on that midline there. He has odd channels like that sometimes. I mean, that was a news spike, so I wouldn't concern myself too much. It's hard to say, really, isn't it? there is a failure there, but trouble is, am I confident it's going down? Not really. Not only that, if we got a channel here, we've had a small break and already a new low. Once that bar closes there, so are we coming down here? I've got no idea at the moment. Is this ranging? Is it going up? I've got not a clue. Not a clue. There's just no sense of direction here, really. So I can't even say I can take a trade. If you take that trade, look, it just could come up and sting you. We've already had a break and a new low. As soon as that bar ticked below there, it's made a new low from this little micro channel. Now, there could be something wider, but at the moment, it's super clear. I know a couple of people have taken that short there, but look, it's just all of a sudden now you're thinking, oh my Christ, have I made the right decision? It just went nowhere. So you'd have got a point out of that because it has to push through. Well, if you got in there, that's where it ticked below. So you'd have got a point at the most there, depending on where you got in. And all of a sudden, this thing is tracing back. Is it going to break above there? It may do, it may not do, but I don't think you can take that really. We've got to get out before the bottom of the move. Well, the bottom's already here. We've got a channel with a break and then a new low, but you're a tick above the lowest part of that, so I don't see how you can take that really. And now all of a sudden it's stacking up, so I don't think many people took it. Let me have a look. One guy mentioned it, another guy took it. It's just nothing you can do really. Oh, well, that's interesting. Dan's just marked that. When did he mark it? About 15 minutes ago. Off the bottom. He's not done it as a channel just yet, but he's done it as that. I actually put that there about 15 minutes ago just to see how it's working, and it is kind of working off it there. Right toe down, touched it and turned and pushed up. So whether there is a bigger top to it, I don't know. But I mean, if you look at that as a overall, it would kind of generally an overall bullish, aren't we? Trouble is, if we were entering here and putting a stop down here with a profit up here, that'd be all good and well. But we don't have, we have no room for error. That's the trouble when it is chopping like this. Pats is just, it's so hard because it's very easy to get stopped out. You've got to wait for a strong signal bar in the right direction. And obviously the more traders they get in there, generally the better and more secure it is. So yeah, he's just put that there. He hasn't got anything as the top yet, but he's certainly aware that there may be something. That's something like Mac would do, and he do have a line at the top as well. But at the moment, you just got to try and look around, zoom out occasionally, and try and see if there's any type of pattern there. And well, I say pattern, any type of, you know, I mean, Mac says we're not pattern traders, but you know what I'm saying. We are, and he, you know, we are kind of bouncing off that area. Well, there's a fair chance anyway. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's certainly looking quite possible. So at least we've got something. So if we have two legs and a strong push up here and then a higher low, then there's a good chance we'll come up and test his eyes. But it's a very random picture today. Random doesn't help traders really. We want some sort of predictability. This actually doesn't look too bad here. It does look like we've got a channel there with a couple of legs down, 2 legs up. So this is better. And this at least is telling us that if there is a channel here, it's likely to push up, which this is kind of the same thing. We've had 2 legs up and a drop back, and then we pushed up strong. So I think, you know, both charts, if you look at them on their merit, are saying we're more likely bullish up to kind of this area, up to about 74 on both charts. Now, knowing where it's likely to go doesn't mean it's not going to shoot down, stop you out before it ends up going in that direction. So the trouble is with Pats, because we have our stops right below that signal bar entry, it just gives us no room for choppiness. You know, as I say, if I bought here, put me stop down here, you can put up with a certain amount of chop, because it'll usually do that on its way up. But we have no room for error, stop losses, and when it is like this, just makes trading so much harder. You know, it might be a good idea to have a, you know, this might be a better option for something like Penguin trades, where, you know, he has got more room for errors. We had this move down, then we had 2 legs up and a really strong move below that EMA. So, you know, Penguin trades is much better when it's choppy, especially if you can read it, because, you know, it tends to whip around, but if you have a bigger stops, it doesn't seem to do much damage. So channel break, new low. So straight away, that there was a couple of people who took that. Now, if you'd have traded a point exactly, you'd have been okay there, but this to me, there's about to be some shorts there, short stops there and there. So this to me looks like it's pushing up, but it may go up there, clear liquidity, and then have a second leg down to here. So it has broken above there. So if anybody took that failure, unless you took a point exactly and you got in a tick below, it would have done you nothing. But I wouldn't be shocked if this clears liquidity and then comes down for a second leg, because it's random. It just looks like it's fishing around clearing liquidity. Went up new high, came down, cleared this, and now, you know, we cleared liquidity here, cleared liquidity here. There's probably going to be some there, but we could have a leg down with a correction and a second leg down, split into 2, and we could get down and test this area. But this is just an educated guess, nothing more really. Feels like summer train is arriving. Yeah, someone else mentioned that the other day. It certainly does, doesn't it? You tend to forget from season to season what it's like. But then someone reminds you, thanks, Daryl. Daryl's reminded us. But yeah, it is. It's boring at the moment. Mind you, if you can keep your patience and just find a setup, you've done your job, don't you? It's all right. But it is a good exercise in patience, because obviously patience is a big part of trading. And it can, I used to have a nightmare with patience. I'm okay with it now. It's, I'd say, one of my stronger points. But I don't know how many times I sat here, patting myself on the back, because I'd sat here for 3 hours without taking a stupid trade. And then in the last 30 seconds, I took a stupid trade and ended up taking a loss. But I don't do it now. I've got no problem with taking a trade. Not taking a trade, rather. So, leg down, push up, cleared liquidity. As I said, I won't be surprised if we have 2 legs down. So we may get something like this broken into 2. So whether it'll break this area or not, or just test this. So we got this leg down, and, you know, it does look like we're coming down to maybe test this. So I would see that as a leg and a leg, somewhere along those lines. Nothing worse than being patient. No, it's the worst thing to do. If you guys remember my early ones, I don't know how many times I did that. That was a regular occurrence for me. But you learn after a while. You learn, the more average trades you take, the more you get stopped out. When you see that pattern again, you just stay out of it. And then you start to get better and grow accounts. And then you start to think, well, all I got to do is, you know, I don't know how many times in the past I've been itching to take a trade. I have no desire to jump into a trade now in the slightest, unless I saw a setup. No desire at all, just to take a setup for the sake of it. Doesn't interest me, because I know 9 times out of 10, if I do that, it's going to lose. So I am finally learning something. You just have to wait for something. The way I see it, it's like someone jumping out in front of your car and waving at you. You can't miss them, and that's the type of trades I like to trade. The ones you just can't miss. You can't click the button quick enough. So we got a leg down, 2 legs up, maybe 2 small legs down. So we got this as a possible interest, but I certainly wouldn't take a long directly off it. If we bounced here and then gave us a higher low, that may interest me. But look at this. It's just so hard to pick a direction, isn't it, really? You'd have just as much chance today of just closing your eyes and clicking the buy or sell button. Okay, so we know we've been here a few times. Let's see if this channel down with a couple of little legs up and another channel down. See what happens here. Trouble is, when you move over to this chart and we see this channel down with 2 attempts to push up and a strong move down, and it tried to retest, is this now heading down towards these lows? It could do. Whereas this, you're kind of thinking more likely to go up. So it's, I've kind of got mixed signals at the moment. I mean, I've said a million times today, it's random. So might just be a day today to tell the market to go do one. I'm not falling for it and stay out of it. Oh, excuse me. So channel break, new high. Nice little correction there. But it'd still be guesswork to go along there, really. I know he charges a lot of money. I think it's something like $750. Somebody mentioned it to me and I looked into it. I'm sure it's something like $750. Don't take my word for it. It's a real old-fashioned British name, that, Roderick. Doesn't strike me. You don't hear him much anymore. Yeah, I'm sure it's $750. He lets you use it for free for 2 weeks. He's just a trader. Yeah, that's about right. Yeah, 900 USD. Yeah, it's about $750. He lets you use it for free, apparently. Someone mentioned it to me, and he said, when I started using it and I looked into it, it said I got to pay this at the end of the 2 weeks, and I went, that's it, not for me. All strategies work. If you've got a strategy, it doesn't matter moving from one to another. Find one and stick to it. And I've more or less stuck to the same thing. The only thing I've played around with really is Penguin, which is very, very close to Max. It's just a slightly blown out version. But when you hear Penguin talk, he talks at second entries and failures. So it's just it's almost like general surgery, whereas Max is microsurgery. So it's just slightly blown out version. animal's name? Someone said the lion about a year ago. I think the lion's a British kind of I think lion trades. Could call myself a lion trades, couldn't I? So 2 legs down and a bullish bar, which does seem to push up. And not only that, here we've had kind of 2 bounces. There is 2 legs down, but at the moment it could just be a pullback before it comes lower. So I'm not really interested in that. I'll tell you what I miss watching is the Gorilla Trader. I liked him. He was kind of in between Mac and Penguin, and I like that he went for more points. It's kind of the way I wanted to trade. Lioness line. I could have like do you remember those? What's the film where they have the lion at the start of the film? What is it? Is it Warner Brothers or something? I could have that as my intro, couldn't I? Growling lion. Is it kind of? Is it Universal? I can't remember what it is. It was it's that one, wasn't it? Yeah, I could have that, couldn't I? Can you hear that? MGM, I could have that roaring first, and I could have UK Futures Trader on there. Lion Gate, is it? MGM, I could have that, the roar at the start, couldn't I? So, yeah. Yeah, see, we've got a little bit of a bounce here, but it's too early in my opinion. If it did do that, it just ate you up and then had a good push down. So you just can't get in there. Even if we have got there, you've got to at least give it a bit of time to get above that 8 million. But if you did jump in there, we had 2 legs down and it was off this area here. So I dare say there was a few traders get in there, and that's why it may have had a little bit more momentum than usual. But that now is irrelevant, I think. It's very much a range day today, but it's a random range day. You know, we kind of bounce in. We had this. Initially, you may put this as the top of your range and this is the low, but we came back and visited a couple of times. But after that, it's just random. We're up here, then we're down here, then we're down here. There's just no... It's just, you get days like that. You just kind of know there's just going to be no trades. When it's like this, you might as well go and enjoy your day and do something else. Or come back an hour later or something, do something. But it's just pretty random day today, really. Hard to trade. And I'll be going for 2 hours and 20 minutes. I'm going to give it another 10 minutes and I'm going to do one, I think. 2-week trial. He's really secretive about his strategy unless you pay the big bucks. Trouble is, you want to know what you're getting. It's like them saying, okay, I've got a car for sale, but I can't tell you what it is until you paid for it. You know what I mean? If you're paying £750 or $900, whatever it is, you want to know what you're getting first before you just start to... So Taylor's gone long off here. Would I want to go long? I don't know at the moment because I don't know where the thing's going. Where's his profit? Up here somewhere. He is a capable trader, is Taylor. I used to like his bar-by-bar analysis. I just wouldn't go long here because I don't know where price is going at the moment. It may go up, it may come down. It's a toss of a coin for me. Who knows? What I will say is we did clear out any possible liquidity, so it may go up, but I don't know. It's just, there's nothing that interests me here. Long, short, I haven't got a clue where it's going to go. I don't want to pretend to know. I think I might tell ability go for 4 points. Yeah, I used to like his, in Nice Guy actually. I used to like his. He used to do bar by bar now and again, and I liked it. I liked a lot of his trades. He was interesting to watch. He clearly knew what he was doing. But I know he went for a really bad spell. He said to me maybe 6 months ago, he's just struggling. And we all do go through bad spells from time to time. I think he's nearly out now. We all do go from bad spells, but it shows your character when you come back from a bad spell, because we all know when you go for a bad spell, it's hard. It's hard to get your focus right. The bar is bouncing off the overnight highs. See, I've got overnight highs as around about here. Oh, you mean bouncing off it to go short? I think he's probably nearly out anyway. I think another tick or so and he's out. So 2 legs down, maybe back to the EMA. It's probably not the worst trade in the world, but Dan didn't take it. He said, good luck, Taylor. He's out now, I think. I think it was about, he's nearly out. It's just above the centre line of this. I think one more tick and he's out. Yeah, he'd be out now anyway. It was probably about down here, so. I wouldn't take it. Now, he may be just taking this running back to the EMA, but I haven't got a clue where the things are going. Out for 16 ticks, so good on him, 4 points. You know, that's what I mean. We all read the chart slightly different. So it's a 4-point risk, 4-point profit 1-to-1. But is this coming down? My guess is at the moment it's working its way down. But I think he's probably just rode it back to that EMA. I think that's all he's interested in. But I haven't got a clue where this thing's going, in all honesty. He's put second entry long, break 2 legs down. Proves down, trend perfect, measured move, very far from the EMA, perfect bar. That's what I mean. We all read the chart slightly different. You know, if he takes lots of trades like that, it'll work for him. So he's got 2 legs down. So he may be talking about that as well. That's probably what he means. In fact, you can put that there. So look. Yeah, I mean, he's right. Channel up, 2 perfect measured legs down. Also 2 little legs far from the EMA. It's worked. Dan said he'd consider a higher low, but I mean, it worked like a treat. He saw it, he called it, he took it. The only reason I wouldn't take anything like that is if I thought it was moving up, and we'd have a pullback, then yeah, but I got no idea whether we're going to go up or whether we're going to go down here. It's random. You know, it's like looking at a painting that someone's just got a can of paint and thrown it at the canvas. What am I looking at? It's very much like this. It's hard to know exactly what you're looking at. Are we going to push up to these highs? Are we going to come down to these lows? Not a clue. Yeah, if you're paying $900, you want to know what you're getting for it. I don't know why people are so damn secretive about stuff. It'll probably be something other people are looking at anyway, but if someone's not going to tell me what I'm paying for, what's the point? The trouble is, I don't know. I'm not a fan of people charging people to teach them to trade. Now, Mac obviously been doing it 25, 30 years. He does charge, but he charges the tiniest little amount. I actually feel like I'm ripping him off. Mac charges $125 for the year. That What's It Caskill guy charges $900. What's that for a year? It's too much. I think it's unfair to trade newer traders. Unless you're a seasoned professional, you've been doing it years and you have something proper structured. But the trouble is, how can you pay £750 to someone on YouTube that you got no idea who is or what you're getting? We all know YouTube's full of so-called gurus selling things, making out they can do this, that, and the other. But you know, you just don't know what you're getting, do you? I mean, I was about this close to paying $350 to Michael Chin to learn price action. Now, I don't buy a toaster until I look on YouTube or find out what it's like, or look on Amazon and find out the reviews. I don't randomly buy stuff. I like to know what I'm buying. So when I looked into it, I realised that it came from Mac. And when I realised that Matt was charging me 1/3 of the price. It's a no-brainer. And here I am. Yeah, you got to be careful. There is another a girl who trades in the UK, Mindfully Trader. She paid, I think, $2,500 to Warrior Trader, and she thought she wasted the money. So Guerrilla set 800 Mac courses. I saw something. Yeah, he did, didn't he? I wouldn't pay for the course, but to watch him to trade, I think he was charging $100 a month. I would have done that. In fact, I was chatting to another lad, and he was on about doing it, and I said I might do it. He said I'm gonna, so he paid, I think, $100, and he got an email back saying I've stopped trading, or I've stopped trading for a while, or I've stopped streaming. But I liked him. He was, for me, a combination between Mac and Penguin. I liked that he had the nerve to go for a lot more points, but ultimately, you don't know whether people are trading on a sim. You know, a lot of people might think, you know, how many times as Iman made videos of so-called gurus trading, you know, been found trading on a sim. It's easy to trade on a sim. You haven't got to worry about losing any money. It's easy to follow the rules on a sim because you know, regardless, you're never going to lose a penny. So it's, you just never quite know what you're getting yourself into. Yeah, it is. I always said, regardless of however much experience I have of this, I would never, ever charge anyone a penny. Purely and simply because I had so much help from other people and no one ever charged me. So as far as I'm concerned, it's about paying it back and helping people. You know, loads of people. I've had help from so many people and they've never said, I want money out of you. So I wouldn't do it back. You know, I've had loads of help from people like Dan and people like Marco and a lot of you guys. You know, there's traders with more experience on this stream than me, and there's traders with less experience. So it's about, you know, helping the newer guys out with a few hints and tips that you struggle with and maybe learn. You know, when you learn to trade for a while, you do learn a lot. You learn a lot what not to do. And if you can pass on your mistakes to, you know, to a newer trader, you might just save them a little bit of pain. And not only that, if they're having a tough time, if you can just, you know, give them a little bit of a, you know, cheer them up a little bit and tell them that what you're doing is normal. Don't beat yourself up. Also, that does a lot of good as well. Yeah, there's so many people trying to rip you off. Doesn't matter what you're doing. You know what? I was looking for some tickets a while ago to cricket in London. And just to watch a cricket match, it was £300 or £400. But you can't park there, and there's places wanting to charge you. There was houses who had a parking space, who wanted to charge you £35 for the day just to park on their drive. There's always someone wanting money. It's, you know what I mean? I took my daughter a few years ago to the circus, and about every 20 minutes they stopped what they were doing and they walked around trying to sell you stuff. And then they do another 20 minutes, then they stop, and then they walk around and try it. You feel like you're in the middle of a money-making machine. I hate that, I do. I really do. It shouldn't be about making money out of people and ripping people off. It should be about helping each other. We're all in the same boat here. Doesn't interest me in the slightest teaching anyone or trading. Not only that, you do something like that, you're committed. You can't let people down. Now, I like the idea that if I need a day off, I can do it. I can stop streaming if I ever want to. You know, I've got options, but if you start charging people, you're committed, and I don't want that anyway. You know, I want to be known for someone who's just there and who's there as a friendly face and a work. I like the term work colleagues, I do, because we basically spend a few hours together a day. As I say, there's newer traders here, there's more experienced traders than me here, so it's all about just swapping ideas, shooting the shit, a little bit of chat, a few jokes, you know what I mean? Just it's company more than anything, because trading's bloody boring sometimes. It's nice to have somebody to vent on. And we got Karina to keep us in shape, just in case we get a bit too boisterous. She knocks us down, makes us behave ourselves. Do you know what? Looking at this this chart here, we've had a leg down with a perfect correction, this range bar. See what I mean? We've had a leg down with an absolutely perfect correction. I wonder if we're going to get a second leg down. I wonder. We've had a big move up, a correction. It does kind of seem like it's possible. And these always look better when you have a move down and you have a perfect correction. Like that. Look how many times it bounces and dropped like a stone. Push back up. So we are respecting this line now. So second entry short. Not that one because it's too far. But another something up here wouldn't be a bad option. It does look very similar to this. So in other words, a leg and a leg. It's a bit more messy here. There is a second entry short there, but I don't like that. There could be two legs. It may pop up and stop that out. A leg and a leg. But if we did get a second entry short up here somewhere, I may have a go at that. I'm new here. Do you follow Max scalping for 1 point? Yes and no. How you doing, Ivan? I scalp exactly the same, but I go for 3 points. That's the only difference. And the reason I go for 3 points is Matt goes for a point, I go for 3. So technically, I'm making 3 times the profit. Now, you will lose a little bit more, but for me, it's a no-brainer. When you've looked at as many charts I have and you see that nearly every trading marks goes for at least 3 points anyway, but I would say not many people scalp for a point anymore. People tend to start for about 6 ticks. But if you're new, you know, there's no reason why you can't go for a point. But if you want to go for a bit more, I would probably suggest go for a bit more, maybe 6 ticks or 2 points. But you'll kind of, you know, you'll kind of make your own way. Some people go for 1-to-1. Some people go for a lot more. But yeah, basically the same strategy, put it that way. So, Ivan, where are you from anyway? What part of the world are you in? Price is bouncing at the overnight highs again. Yeah, so the overnight highs is here. So for me, it looks like it's bouncing on the underside of it. So see, looking at this range chart, leg down, perfect correction, leg down. Overnight highs are here. We're under those now. So we've pushed back up and tested them. Must be Russia. Ivan Lou. Is it Low or Lou? Great Russian name. In fact, I do have a follower from Russia. If I look on my, let me have a look. It shows me, if I look on YouTube, my YouTube channel, it does show you where some of your subscribers are from. It's quite interesting. Yeah, it could be sort of that type of name as well. Let's have a look at this. Analytics. Audience. Here we go. This is interesting. So, thanks for reply. Are you from Hong Kong? Excellent. Excellent. Oh, this has changed a little bit. It did change over the year, but there's some views from Nigeria. In fact, I'm sure there's more than this. Oh, there is, yeah. Argentina. Is that Czechia or Czechia? I'm not sure. I think that's where Thomas Way's from. France, Portugal, Nigeria, Bulgaria, Germany, Canada. Yeah, I thought that by far the majority, but I didn't realise there was that many people from the UK. Yeah, it's interesting sometimes to look at these. Gender, very, very few women. Yeah, I'll look at that one. Just over 1% females. I don't know why more women don't trade. I think women make better traders. But look at that. It's a massive difference, that is. Just over 1% of viewers. It's either women hate me or not many women trade. I know what I think. I don't want to say. So, looking at this, so that second entry short did work. I didn't want to take it because we got a little leg up. You don't know whether we're going to get a second leg up. Let me just... Yeah, I could be universally hated by women. Confusion trading. That's a good point, actually. But it's a very small amount of women trade. 1%. Well, 1% that I'm aware of, which is tiny. I think women make good traders. I suppose generally, you think really if you've got kids and they're young, generally in a lot of households, women kind of stay at home and you think they may. They may sort of stay at home. You're thinking there was, I don't know. Quick question. Someone said yesterday they took out a 20 evals using my code. Does anyone remember doing that? Did any of you guys do that? The only reason I ask is I had 20 emails saying that someone's used the code. And I noticed it wasn't on my amount for the day. So I emailed Apex and they said there was an issue with multiple emails yesterday sent out. In other words, there was just one, not 20. We would like to know the email of the subscriber who claimed they had this. It was just weird that the fact that someone mentioned 20 and I had 20 emails. If I look here, you can see them all there. 20 emails, $5 each. So when I saw that, I thought, well, nice. And it's just happened that someone mentioned it, but it only shows $5 from yesterday. So I thought I'd just email them and check. Strange. Hope you don't blame. I can't remember who it was said it was now. I know I thanked him for it. Seeing it was a new guy, Dutch, can't remember it. Yeah. Thought it was David. Actually, it was David. He's not in today, I don't think, is he? If he speaks again, I'll mention it to him. But he did say that, didn't he? And funnily enough, I had 20 emails. On a while, he started back up again. Yeah, it was, wasn't it? But I had 20 emails. Usually you just get one email, but I had 20, all with $5. And funnily enough, the emails were about 2 to 3 minutes apart, which is roughly the time it takes to set up an evaluation. And you go and do another one, you go and do another one. So all of a sudden it showed $5 for yesterday. So I thought I'd check with Apex just to see if they made a mistake. But I'll ask him next time I see him. Yeah, he did say, because I said if we spoke before, he seemed to ring a bell. People do pop back from time to time. I just thought it was quite unusual that he said it and I happened to get 20 emails, which, you know, one without the other, yeah, but both of them, it's a bit suspect, isn't it? It's just random that he says he took 20 evaluations and I got 20 emails from Apex. Usual code for my funded futures, but also said he did 20. Yeah, he did actually, didn't he? He said my funded futures, yeah. What the other one was, I think it was I think it was take profit actually. But yeah, it was weird that he said that 20. I thanked him for it, and then later that day I had, shortly after I had 20 emails. Usually they send you one email for the amount, but I got 20, and I thought, so he said that and I got 20 from that. Makes sense to me, doesn't it? That makes and they're saying there was something went wrong yesterday and they might have sent it out 20 times, and I'm thinking, but they were about 3 minutes apart, 2 to 3 minutes. Now if you get an evaluation, by the time you go in there, pay it, blah blah blah, it's roughly 2 minutes apart, so it was just a bit random. So I thought I'd just check up on that. I mean, you never know whether the trouble is, how many, influencers out there, you don't know whether they pay you for every one of them. I'm not saying they don't. But when someone says it and you happen to get 20, it's a bit of a coincidence to get them at the same time. Someone completely random from Apex said they took 20 out, and Apex emailed me with 20 emails. So I don't know, we'll see. If I see him again, I'll ask him. But they did say if you got the email for the guy, and we'll check it out. Okay, let's have a look here. So this to me actually looks like a two-tiered channel. And on here, so far, this is playing out like it looks. A leg down with a correction and a leg down, at least the start of one. So if we can get something up here, maybe a triple test, then I would have a go at that. It's fitting okay at the bottom. It's fitting 1, 2, 3, 4 times at the top. You can see it around here. Look how well that's fitting on the underside of that two-tier channel. So that looks, I'm quite confident that I wouldn't take a trade here just yet. But we may get one set up after all. If I put that there and we add one push up second, if we can get a triple test or a second entry short off here, that might not be a bad option. I always like to look around, see what other people have got. Yeah, Thomas Wade's got that as well. Yeah, he's got that, so it actually does fit nice. He doesn't use anything with the midline, so he can't even check for a little bit of confidence for the midline unusually. But I'm pretty sure that tool there was one on max anyway, so that might be why he hasn't got it. I'm hoping that does push up a bit. Well, that's good news anyway. So okay, so Dan's got it as well. So yeah, so far so good. We need to break above this though, really. 1, 2, we need to get above here. Second entry short up here and bearish. That will be okay. So what I'm going to do is just open up an order. We got no news coming up, have we now? Just going to open up an order and just drop it up here out the way, just in case. In fact, bring it a bit down a bit. There is. It would have to set up right. We need to push up a little higher, but what I will say is we've got a little channel there with a break. We need to get above here, clear this bit of liquidity out here, and then get something that looks bearish. Ah, David, quick question, bud. Was it you who said you'd taken out 20 evals yesterday in Apex? The reason I ask is I had you did get 20 Apex accounts with your code. I thought you did. Any chance I can have your email address, bud? The only reason I ask is when you said that, about 5 minutes after that, I had 20 emails. I'll show you. You can see them. Apex Trader Funding, new commission. There's 20 of them there. Well, you can see them as they float up. There's 20 of them there. But on my account for yesterday, it just goes, it shows I had one commission. So I emailed Apex and they just messaged me back saying, let's have a look. There was an issue with multiple emails being sent yesterday, some affiliates regarding commissions that was created. Well, it's unusual that you mentioned that and I had 20 emails. So from you, which is completely separate from Apex and Apex. So I just want to make sure they're doing what they're supposed to. But what they're saying is we would like to know the email of your subscriber who claimed they'd use your code for 20 evaluations so he can investigate further. Now, it's up to you, mate. I've got no issues. If you don't mind me, I did buy them 1st of June. Oh, you bought them on the 1st of June, did you? Okay, that's fine, mate. That's fine. That's fine, because I did get about $120 commissions on the 1st of June. That's fine, mate. That's brilliant. I appreciate that, man. That's no problem. All I want to make sure is because you don't know ultimately are they paying you for, because, you know, that's fine. So that's appreciated, mate. Thank you anyway. Yeah, you said you'd use 20. It's just when you said it, I assumed it was yesterday or the day before, or whenever it was. That's fine, but no problem. Yeah, no problem. I appreciate that, mate. Thank you anyway. Thank you. That's fine. So I'm going to kill that anyway. I was hoping we would get 2 bouts. So I appreciate that, mate. How are you getting on with them anyway? Please tell me they're still intact. That will be some good news. Yeah, I seem to remember I had about $125 commissions on the first, because I did look. So that would have made sense. That would have made sense. I just assumed when you mentioned them yesterday, I assumed you'd bought them yesterday, so that's fine. It's weird how you mentioned that day and I had 20 emails pop through, so that's fine. No problem, mate. No problem. Also deposited some money yesterday into a live account. Have you been trading a while, mate? Have you, just out of interest? How long have you been trading for, David? In fact, you had a break and came back, didn't you? So you have been trading a while, haven't you? It's okay. I normally like to talk people out of trading their own money. But I think you've been trading a while, haven't you? I've been going for. Okay, so I may give it 10 more minutes, and I think that might be it for today. Yeah, taking it slow is the best way, actually. Trust me, I didn't. I try to rush it, and all it does is you spend an extra year more than you need to throwing money away. Slow and steady, it does. I always had that attitude that I wanted to speed it up. The trouble is, 9 days out of 10, you just throw money away. And if I'd have traded when I started to win trades, okay, if I'd have traded one micro, I'd have had more money now. So it just goes to show you, you know, the amount of times where it's not a get rich quick. They're not saying you can't get rich. They're saying it's not a get rich quick scheme. It just means it's not quick. 2 years ago, yeah, you know what you're doing. You've been doing it long enough to know what you're doing. Yeah, I mean, you can get very wealthy. You can certainly make more money than most other jobs and work a lot less hours and have a much better life, but it does take time. But the trouble is, when you're surrounded by the kind of media side of the prop firms, all you hear is about, you know, Joe Bloggs from Wyoming earned $40,000 this month. So-and-so from London earned $120,000. You hear these stories of big amounts of money. And it's very easy to get sucked into that sort of whirlwind of, oh yeah, if I do this today, I'll do that today, I'll be able to withdraw this and I'll be able to... And you can, you know, you can do money, but it is going to take you a fair while to get the skills to do it and the self-belief and the, you know, that sort of solid trader mindset. But when you have got it, then yeah, you can earn a sight load of money. But me, like a lot of other, I mean, I'm quite stubborn in a lot of ways. I kind of wanted to do it my way. We all do the 300 US time. I know, yeah. How many times have I said that? And all you're doing is sort of, you know, you kind of sucked into the hype of how much you can earn. Yeah, it is. I have settled a bit now. I still mention money a bit, probably more than I probably should do, but trouble is, money makes the world go round. It's very hard to not focus on it sometimes. But I have slowed down. I don't take nowhere near the amount of trade. So naturally, and I think when you do have a taste of when you do it slower, it's surprising how quick the money does build up. And before you know it, you're at payout and you're thinking, actually, I took it slower. Yeah, it takes a bit longer, but if you take away all the time you spent throwing money away, it's actually much quicker to do it slowly. But you try telling that to me. I always wanted to do it my way. I thought I had the answers, and after a while, you're forced into reality and realizing it. You want to make a lot of money, you've got to take a back step, take it slower. I've been tuning into streams recently. I just wanted to say hi and thanks for the good vibes. Neo, yeah, you're welcome, mate. I know there are some people who sit in the background, and rightly so. Nothing wrong with sitting back and focusing on what you're doing, absolutely. That's, you know, absolutely. Yeah. Slowest, smooth, golfer, yeah. My experience of golf is just trying to whack the ball as hard as I can. I don't care where it went, as long as I hit it hard. It's like snooker. I used to play a lot of snooker while I was younger. And for me, it's not about getting the balls in the pockets. It's about hitting the ball as hard as I can and then getting the balls in the pocket. Same with golf. It was just about swinging that club as hard as I could. Yeah, I tend to, I think the conclusion I've come to is I tend to run before I can walk. But I have learned, I definitely slowed down a bit. I take very few trades, to be honest with you. And my opinion is the fewer trades you take, generally the more you win, really, or the better financial balance you kind of are. If you can't make one pay, yeah. It's weird. Do you know what? Until I started my first payment, I never ever did more than one evaluation. It's weird, isn't it? And then once I took a payment, I just wanted to do more and more. But I always say this to newer traders, when you start to go down that evaluation route, never ever do more than one. You know, people get more than one and they trade copy them. The trouble is you blow one account, you blow 5 in a row. It makes no sense. So are we maybe coming into triple test sort of area? 1, 2, 3. We got a channel with a little break. Where are we? See, my predictions for what I'm seeing here, we've had a big move up and it looks like 2 attempts to go lower. So I wouldn't be surprised if we do make 2 attempts, we at least get to these lows and clear some of this out. But you can see it really, we've had a move up and this does look like a correction. A leg down with another leg down, kind of similar to what we've got in the middle. I mean, we've got a perfect correction, leg down, perfect correction, and then down. So my gut feeling is this is likely going to go lower. Now overnight highs are here, so we've pushed through that. So I'm not concerned. So my gut feeling now is it's going to clear some of this area out and test these lows. So I will be looking, I am looking for a short, but obviously it's got to qualify. So let's have a look at this. That looks like it's in one channel. This to me looks like there may be 2 there or a slight break. So if we can get a bounce up here, I'd be looking for a lower high or a failure. Let me just look at. So Thomas Wade's got the same thing. He's got that. Thomas Wade does this with his channels. Dan does this. He keeps them tight. So I've got the best of both worlds here. This is one channel and this looks like 2. So tough one. Dislike the taxes where you're dealing with prop firms here in the Netherlands. You trade live accounts, your own personal assets. If you do, yeah. The good thing is you can obviously offset all your prop firm fees against your profits. So, you know, if I make 100,000 a year and I've spent 10,000 in prop fees, you can obviously write that off against your taxes. But yeah, I'm not sure how it all works in the Netherlands. Counts as your own assets. Yeah. I mean, I just mark everything down, everything I spend, everything I make, and then obviously the end of March, or close to the end of March, I'll just submit my tax return for the year. But I know what we can do in the UK is, I think it's over 55,000 we pay 40% tax. Over 125,000 we pay 45% tax. Now you can put a chunk of your money in a pension. So if you earn 75,000 in the UK, the 20,000 above 55, you're liable for 40% tax. You can put all that into your pension. So that's a good option as well. And obviously you can, you know, rather than pay all that tax, you can mitigate it in the way of maybe a new laptop or some, you know, some new monitors or a better desk. You can obviously, use some of that and write some of that off. You know, if your computer's a bit slow, update it. But obviously only if you're making money. You don't need a supercomputer, but it doesn't do any harm, I don't think, having something pretty up to date. No, I had a talk to an accountant and he said I would do just be a sole trader, which is I'm registered as a sole trader just for the first year. Once your earnings get over a certain amount, there are tax benefits to becoming a limited company. Now, there are obviously benefits. For instance, if you got into debt, let's say, for instance, you own your own home, if you had loans or got into debt, or you had to, rent a building or buy vehicles, and you got into debt and you ended up getting into financial trouble and had to declare yourself bankrupt, they can't touch any of your personal items with a limited company. That's unless you secured any loans based on anything. So, and I think you can pay yourself in dividends, and there are certain tax benefits, but the way I'm doing it at the moment is there's very little overheads as a trader with your own account. The other overheads as a prop trader are just your prop fees, so it's very easy to do your own taxes. I had a business about 15 years ago, a sole trader, so I've done my own taxes. Now, if you've got a limited company, you've got buildings, you've got insurances, you've got vehicles, you've got this, that and the other, then it's good to have an accountant. But, in a lot of cases, doing your own taxes isn't always that difficult. There are lots of information out there now. There are Facebook groups that help you and stuff like that. So it's not rocket science if you haven't got many overheads. My overheads really are any computer equipment, any fees I've had to pay for Apex or whoever I trade. And obviously, there's a certain percentage that you can claim for using a room in your house. And obviously internet bills, stuff like that. But apart from that, there's very, very little overheads. It's pretty straightforward. So I just literally make a note. I have a spreadsheet. So anything I spend on Apex or whatever, I put in there. Anything I make for affiliates, I put in there. Anything I make from payments, I put in there as well. And obviously at the end of the year, I'll work out what profit I've got, work out if I want to offset some of my tax and put some into a pension, or I may decide to upgrade my computer. Depends on what I earn. So for the first really year or two, I'm just going to stick with just get an account. I had a limited company 15 years. Yeah, well, I actually spoke to an accountant. I know where my wife works. They have an accountant working there, and I spoke to an accountant, and he asked me a bunch of questions. He said, I just go as a sole trader for your first year or so, and then see what you earn, and then obviously you can make changes there. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm going to do. Let me have a look at this. So that doesn't look that bad. The trouble is, we may have had a break and a new high. I don't want to automatically go short from here. So I know a lot of financial people do find their way over to places like Dubai. The benefit being is you don't pay no tax. There is a small amount of tax as a company that you do pay, but you've got to earn a lot of money before you pay that. And I think it's only 6 or 9%. So, unless you're earning a couple of million a year, there's no issues. So I know that's popular from any type of financial business, well, where you can, work from a computer. I mean, as a trader, as long as, certain prop firms will let you work from that area, then, there's obviously you got to have a bit of money behind you, and, you've got to be tried and tested. Well, actually, I will tell you this. Dubai is the third safest place to live in the world. And that's based on women as well. So it's very, very safe for women. I do know a couple of people live in Dubai. I know my father-in-law had a daughter that lived and worked in Dubai for a few years. It's very safe. Dubai is very safe. Places like Saudi Arabia, no, not so much. Not Dubai anymore. It's very different. Women can't be free. They absolutely can in Dubai. They absolutely can. They absolutely can. You may get confused with, places like Saudi Arabia and that's very different. It's very good for women. Yeah, very good for women. You know, with my interest in going to Dubai, I've followed lots of sort of YouTubers that go to Dubai and work in Dubai, and you know they're working around in bikinis all day. They have a nice life. Any type of crime obviously is frowned upon. Yeah, when you're talking about places like Iran or even Saudi Arabia, but Dubai is very good for women and very safe as well. Very safe. So no, it's you know it's a good place to live. I followed Japanese forex trader who moved over to Dubai as one. I love a view from his. Oh, they do. Yeah, I've followed quite a few. There was a trader I got talking to, a British trader, that I got talking to about 2.5 years ago. A guy called Joe, who lived in Norfolk in the UK, and him and his girlfriend at the time, it's now his wife, were teachers. And they went over to Dubai about maybe 8 or 9 years ago now, 7 or 8 years ago now. And they worked in Dubai for 12 months. They had a contract teaching English out there. And he spent a year out there and came back and just purely by accident got into trading. And he said that they loved it that much. Him and his now wife decided to move out there. And he was earning about $300,000 per year from trading. And he can live out there, all expenses, cheaper than what he used to pay for tax in the UK. It's about 30% cheaper than London to live over there, but obviously you got no tax. Yeah, it's not for everybody. If not even women here, you don't know. It's not safe for women because the religious rules. It's very different over there now. It is. I've done a lot of research on Dubai, a lot of research. You know, and I've followed a lot of women who are over in Dubai and work in Dubai, and traders as well, and YouTubers. It's very safe for women. But yeah, it's the third place. Panama, Malta, Georgia. We're talking about. I will never move to Arabic country. We're talking about Dubai now, yeah. But yeah, it's very safe. It isn't for everybody, you know. I get it, but I don't think they're very strict like that. I really don't. Yeah, look. Dubai is generally a very safe destination for women, solo or in groups. One of the safest places on earth for women, and has been declared as the best place for women personal safety by one international survey. English is widely spoken, public transport. So yeah, it's women visiting Dubai feel very at ease, sightseeing, taxi. But it's changed a lot, Dubai has, over the last 10 years. But, you know, it's not for everyone. There is a lower high there. I'm very tempted to take that.
Order submitted.
Order filled.
Off the top here. See how this goes on. Okay. Doesn't look so good on this, does it? We'll see. I'm not sure about this. I might get out there below that. We have bounced off the top here, seeing there is a lower high. Come on, take me out. I'd be surprised if it doesn't break below there. Leg with a break and a leg. We'll see. Come on, take me out. No, don't do that. Should do. Come on. I'm tempted to just scuttle this and get out early.
Target
Okay,
filled.
Order filled.
for a tick. Okay, that's better now. It may go down, but it just doesn't look great here, to be honest with you. So we just check everything's... yeah, it's fine. I just don't like this, to be honest with you. We've got a channel up there with the brakes. You never know where it's going to push a bit higher. We have got a lower higher on there. But now it's ticked below there. My gut feeling was going to tick below there, but then we still may get an option yet. So what I'm looking at as well is that we've got the 10,000 tick chart there. It's a first entry. It may push a bit higher to get a lower high. So something about it I didn't like. Yeah, they can. It's changed. It's changed. Because obviously the big financial things out there, you know, and there are a lot of women CEOs out there. In fact, yeah, it has changed and walk around in bikinis. The world is changing a little bit. It is. You know, don't get me wrong, I've got a wife and a 16-year-old daughter. It's somewhere I'd love to go. If I thought there was a chance they were going to get mistreated in any sort of way or they weren't going to get the same rights as me, I wouldn't even consider it. Put it this way, women in my house certainly get way more rights than I do. I don't have a say in the TV. Whatever my wife and daughter want to eat for the tea, they decide, not me. So, just saying. Yeah, I get second best of everything in this house. I do. You pick it. Okay. Right. Oh yeah, I just got told I was picking my door. I've had a drink. I can't, Reg. Yes, I haven't really, but I will do. So, see if we can get a triple test here. 1, 2, 3. We moved to Australia. It's hard to move to Australia now. I think they only take you if you're super talented or skilled. You might be okay, Karina. They might have you. I know it's expensive there to move to Australia, but you got to pay tax. I mean, some of the cities, they have massive drug problems in Australia. I think initially, we sent over criminals, convicts on a boat to Australia a long time ago. So there's always been that standing joke that people from Australia that originally came from are convicts, but they always have that kind of standing joke. But yeah, I mean, places like Dubai, I think certain places in the Caribbean as well are tax-free. There are certain countries around the world. I mean, they are very modern, Dubai, very modern. but it has changed a lot. But you know, if you want to be a place that wants to attract people, you've got to make it attractive for people to visit. And you've got to make it fair to people to visit. You know, you're not going to get foreign women going there if they're not safe or they can't have a free life and do what they want. You know, and they want to attract people. You know, every single person there, no matter what race they are, what religion they are, what, you know, we've all going to have equal rights. It's about Italy. Beautiful country, I know. Italians, passion, yeah. It's on my list to go to Italy. I've never been before. I should have been Italian, I think. I'm very good with the ladies. See, it comes natural to me. So I should have been I should have been Italian. Place if you've yeah, I've heard it's quite expensive to live. You lived in Miami for 8 years, did you? Place I've never been to, the US. It's on my list to go to. But I think the US, you know, when we tend to go on holiday, we tend to go to Europe. It's pretty quick. I mean, I've flown in and out of it. We went to Cuba about 15, 18 years ago, so that's about as close as I've been to the US. The world is big, it certainly is. So, if this is a channel, if this is a break. Greece. Yeah, I think we may be going to Greece. Turkey I like, actually. It's one of my favourite destinations. And Cyprus as well. I lived in Cyprus for a couple of years, which is lovely. I love Cyprus. We invited Lance to our wedding, did you? You never told me you were getting married. I thought you were saving yourself for me anyway. I didn't know you were getting married. I like Dubai for a few reasons. One, obviously the tax. You know, that's a big thing. If you're earning good money, you pay a lot of tax in this country and you don't get nothing for it, to be honest with you, in this country. It's just, I mean, the national health is just, now don't get me wrong, I don't want to run the national health down, but, you know, if you want an operation in the standard operation, you could be waiting for 12 months. It's just, and, you know, the government has had a lot to do with that. I like Dubai for a sense of security. Yeah, it's security. It's a beautiful place. It's very modern, beautiful beaches. Obviously, you know, you've got the weather, and we all say we like hot weather, but I do believe in the summer months it does get scorching there. But you can obviously mitigate that with air conditioning, you know, staying in a little bit more, maybe travelling to other countries at that time of year. But it's very modern. It's, you know, it's very modern. And it's kind of nice to have a little bit of an exciting life. You know, we're only here once, and I'm stuck in a small little town in the middle of the Shropshire countryside in the UK. It's boring, not much happens here. So it'd be nice to get on a plane and move to another country for a few years, somewhere exciting, somewhere with nice weather, you know, nice shops, nice eating out. It'd be lovely to have that. And that's kind of been my little dream. It helps motivate me sometimes, you know, when I'm trading. You know, there's pros and cons wherever you go, to be honest with you. Taylor's in a long trade on here somewhere. He's got a slightly different. Oh yeah, he's gone long above here. You can literally. Yeah, I know. My father-in-law went over there, and they don't lock their cars or anything, do they? No, don't worry, bud. I didn't really notice, to be honest with you, but yeah, it's very safe over there. I mean, crime is really frowned upon. You know, I mean, I'm pretty sure they're pretty. Mind you, if more countries were harsh on crime, then you know they may be a bit safer. But the trouble is, there are so many places out there that aren't safe. You know, I suppose the US, there are places in the UK, there are places in the UK that aren't particularly safe at night. But I just like a little bit of excitement. My life's kind of boring where I live. Not a lot happens. It's kind of a small little town. Charles Darwin was born where I live and kind of grew up there. So there's a bit of history here, but it's a small, quiet town where not much goes on, really. We got a cinema. We got a ice skating rink. Sorry, we got a cinema. We got a skating rink, maybe 10 or 15 miles up the road. We got a bowling alley. We haven't got much more, really. Not a lot happens where I live. I know in Dubai they've got that big indoor ski slope, real ski slope with penguins. It's not to like. 16-year-old can buy a gun and not a drink. I know, yeah. I mean, that was the big argument during the Vietnam War. People can die for the country, but they can't buy a beer. It's crazy, isn't it? They are odd laws to have back to back. You can buy a gun, you can fight for your country, but in some states you can't buy a beer. It's a bit odd, isn't it? You think they'd slacken off on that, really? Yeah, the trouble is they've had that culture for so long, it's hard to get rid of. I mean, you know, I understand having guns for, you know, if you live out in the country and you've got bears and stuff like that. You know, I understand that side of it. But, you know, I was a guy. I'm a guy. I understand metal things that clunk and click and go bang. It's fascinating. But I think it's things like the automatic weapons. If you keep it to sort of pistols, shotguns and rifles, and get rid of the automatic weapons. No one really needs automatic weapons apart from the fun of shooting at them. But the trouble is, in the wrong hands, they can do a lot of damage quickly. You know, I understand there's a big hunting culture there. You know, if you're living out in the country, you know, in the wild, makes perfect sense. It's you know, it kind of comes with the territory. If you're living out in certain places, you know, places in Norway and that, I think in certain places in Norway, it's illegal to go in some places without having a firearm with you. So they certainly play a part, but the trouble is, you know, I mean, there's no guns in the UK. You can go throughout your whole life and not seeing a gun in the UK. Not even the police carry them. You have armed units, but the normal police on the streets, you won't see them with any type of a firearm. They have, you know, maybe a bat and a taser, but apart from that, so you can literally go through a lifetime in this country and not really see any types of firearms. You know, I've fired a bunch of stuff. I used to go to a place where I used to fire a shotgun for clay pigeon shooting. I did a little bit of time in the reserves, so you know, I fired a few weapons, but you know, the average everyday Joe won't see anything in the country in the UK really. So, you know, a few neighbours have a dispute here. There may be a few punches thrown and a bit of an argument. On the rare occasion, someone might pull a knife. But, you know, you give those two people guns and, you know, things can get out of hand pretty quickly. But the trouble is the gun lobbies are so powerful in the US. And I understand if you've been brought up with them, you kind of don't know any different. But to have guns... They have in Spain, yeah, and a lot of places in Europe they do. But, you know, your normal police on the streets don't have them in the UK. You know, but I think it's the automatic weapons, isn't it, that in the US, really. I understand they're fun. I understand the fun factor that, unfortunately, if you've got a clean record and you can have one at a young age, human beings suffer with emotions, and how many times have we had one nutcase gets hold of it and walks into a school? I mean, God forbid. I know in Australia they had something called the Sandy Hook massacre a long time ago, and that was it. The Australian government just went, right, that's it, and they banned the guns. And then there's a famous comic, Jim Jeffries, that talks about that, and they said that's it, no guns, and everyone went, fair enough. And they've not had one since, a massacre since. So obviously guns are a problem in the wrong hands, and it's all it's always the nutcases that sort of spoil it for the rest of everyone, really. But it's innocent people that get on the end of them, and that's there lies the problem. I understand pistols, maybe certain parts of the country. I understand rifles and shotguns, but the automatic weapons and stuff like that, don't need them. I know there's probably people out there saying, that there's US guys in here with guns. If I was in the US, I'd probably buy myself one. I understand the fun fascination, but it's the automatic weapons that people can buy and just go out into a school. And I mean, it must be a nightmare for parents that live in areas where, these things can happen. God forbid. And it's always, unfortunately, the innocent people that seem to, bear the brunt of it. Absolutely, it happened once, Sandy Hook, and that was it. They banned the guns, and rightly so. Loads of kids got killed. You can't have that in a society, really, where kids are, what I mean? Parents are scared to have kids at school. It's crazy, really. It is, absolutely. I mean, kids are innocent. If two people want to go out into the middle of the country and shoot at each other, then get on with it. But it's always the innocent people that bear the brunt of it, and you can't have that. Not in a modern day society. You can't have it. I know I'm probably going to lose a few subscribers, but I think most sensible people in the US that have guns don't go out with machine guns, but unfortunately, it is the odd nutcase that also has that. You can't monitor everyone. You don't know what people go through in their life. There's a screw loose, something goes wrong, and a nutter walks into a school, and people's lives get changed. Shotguns, pistols, hunting rifles, no issues with them. If I was living in certain parts of the US with bears, I'd want some sort of protection. I know, as I say, there was a girl I watch who lives somewhere in Norway where there are a lot of polar bears, and it's illegal to walk around there without having a firearm. So, they obviously play a part. So, awkward day today. How long have we been going for? 3.5 hours. That's a long day for me. So is this going to come down? I don't know is the answer. I'm glad I got out of that trade. I saw wise. My gut feeling it was going to break below there, and I realised it was risky, so I got out right at the right place. Just a little bit too impulsive, that was. I do get that occasionally. So, I don't know about you guys. I don't know if you guys have seen much today, but I think the one that Dan took was that. He did mark something up here, but that was, I don't know whether that was a bit early or not. I just, obviously after the news, I just stayed out of anything there, but I get that one. It's kind of bouncing here, isn't it? And it did work, but really there's not a lot else I've seen. If we get a failure here to go down, that wouldn't be too bad. Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with guns. and I know if you've grown up with them, you don't any different. I think it's the automatic weapons in the wrong hands that can create havoc. And I know, you can have the saying that, well, it's the idiots that make it bad for the sensible gun owner. But the trouble is, while it's relatively easy to get a weapon, nutcases are going to be able to get them, and massacres are going to happen. And it's sad. It's sad that sometimes it comes to the stage where everyone's got to suffer for the nutters out there. But sometimes you've got to sort of take a hit for the safety. But as long as you take away, the hunting rifles and stuff, I know there's a big culture of hunting. I've not got an issue with that. I'd probably do it myself. But automatic weapons that can do massive amount of damage. I used to watch a couple of YouTubers that go out there and shoot at certain things. They'll shoot at helmets, they'll shoot at books, they'll shoot at this. I watch stuff like that. Guys like stuff, but school massacres are an absolute heartbreak. They really are. And while automatic weapons, there's so many out there, and while they're relatively easy to get, unfortunately, massacres where kids get killed will happen. And sometimes the only answer is to get rid of the guns that do the damage, which is automatic weapons. You can go out there with half a dozen magazines and kill, 50 people relatively easy. Not that simple with a shotgun or a hunting rifle. Look at was it the one in Vegas where the guy was shooting an automatic weapon from one of the hotels? That must have been horrendous. Out enjoying yourself and just getting sort of picked on from, 500 yards up in a building. Can you imagine if you got kids there? It'd be, I don't even want to think about it. It must be, you'd have been scared shitless. Let's have a look. If you've never seen Jim Jeffries, the comedian, he's an Australian comedian. He talks about guns in the US. Actually, he's actually massively popular in the US. Go and watch him. Actually, he talks about guns. He says you've got one answer and one answer only for guns, and this is it. I like guns. They talk about home protection and all this. He said, but you see pictures of guys with a rifle. He said, if automatic weapon. He said, if you're thinking about protection, he said, you never see people with a picture with a door in Padlock Weekly and all this sort of stuff. He's quite funny. Watch him. Jim Jeffries, his name is, but but is it that bad that you need protection from people breaking into your house? I don't know. Yeah, I don't get me wrong. If I lived in the country, I'd want to buy a rifle and I'd probably have a go at hunting. I'm not a massive fan of killing something. Don't get me wrong, I eat meat. I don't know whether I'd have the nerve to kill something, unless I had to, but, so hunting's not for me. I'd probably have a go at it. I wouldn't, but you got business robbed twice. Yeah. I think the main issue out there is the automatic weapons. You don't need some kind of machine gun to protect yourself. You can do that with a pistol. I think pistols are probably the most simple and effective and easy to sort of keep on your person for home protection. But if you've got to pull out a rifle to protect yourself in the home, obviously just the logistics of moving that thing around. So I get the pistols for any type of protection, and I get rifles for hunting. I get shotguns, if you're out in the country for farmers or whatever. But it's the automatic weapons, I think, that do the real damage. If you take, massacres and stuff like that, and, the one I mentioned about the one in Vegas, same again, automatic weapons, I'm pretty sure you can do such a lot of damage. There's no type of protection you need, really, that a rifle or a shotgun or a pistol couldn't provide you with. You can take down an elephant with a certain rifle. A lot more effective than, an automatic weapon. But there you go. There's my views. I used to shoot pistols before they banned them in the UK. Yeah. I did clay pigeon shooting. I did that for quite a while. We used to go out. There was a retired colonel near where I live who used to do a shoot once a week, and we used to go out, fire 50 cartridge, and then go out on the town and get leathered. So I did a little bit of time in the reserves, so I've fired some British, the British SA-80 and a few other bits and pieces, but that was a long time ago. 2 legs up here. Is this going to come down? I would have suggested probably. Trouble is, it's very random today. I'll tell you that, there was a guy I used to follow. He was ex-police, actually, this guy. A big, stocky guy. And he was firing, I forget what it was, some big caliber rifle. And it was one of the ones where you put the round in and you screw the chamber and it malfunctioned. Something went wrong and it ripped off, cut his jugular. I think I think it was the bolt action, part of the actual bolt action fractured his eye socket. He nearly died. Literally ripped through his jugular. I think it was the 50 cal thing. It was the one, I think, that you screw the actual, that you don't just use the bolt. He was a lucky boy, he was. I think his father was with him. He was an ex-police as well, so, obviously knew how to handle weapons, but something obviously went drastically wrong with it. And it's obviously severed his, but you saw the slow motion of it. Oh, that must have hurt. The jugular, I don't know whether he felt much about that, but that fractured eye socket, I bet that hurt. But yeah, I get the fascination with guns from a guy's point of view. We like stuff that jangles, made of metal, the stuff that's heavy and stuff that goes bang. So I can't see me getting a trade here today. I did wonder whether we got a couple of legs up. But I don't know at the moment. It's been very random. There's no kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? There's no kind of pattern at all, is there? It's very random. It almost looks like paint thrown at a board as opposed to painting a picture. I do watch that Outdoor Boys YouTube channel as well. He's just finished, isn't he, or stopped? He has masses of viewers. I think it's not unusual for him to get 10 or 15 or 20 million views. But I think he's just stopped making videos. I think I saw a video of his from a couple of weeks ago, but he went out, lived in I think Alaska, did a lot of outdoor stuff in Alaska, which occasionally meant hunting and stuff like that. I like watching him. But he's just stopped making videos for a time. I'm not sure. Well, I think it's kind of overwhelmed him at the amount of followers he's got, and I suppose people hunting him down for pictures and phones. I suppose he's kind of got famous pretty quick, and I suppose let's have a look here. So there may be a leg and a leg up. Is this going to go anywhere else? No is the answer. So on that note, I'm going to knock it on the head for the day. So a random tough day, really. It may improve later, but it's hard to trade this stuff. I did get into a trade, but I got out for plus a tick. I think it was that lower high. No, sorry. But, I mean, it could have worked, but we had a push up there with a break. But it bounced off the top, and I took the lower high. But it just... the trouble is, with Pats, very quick setups. Sometimes you don't have to think, so something didn't feel right about it. It may have worked. I mean, we came off the top, came off the top, but the fact that we had a channel there with the break, ordinarily we'd make a new high, but something didn't feel right, and I got out for a tick. My gut feeling was it was likely going to stop that out, which it did, and obviously then it pushed up. But sometimes we get into trades and then you have a second thought, don't you, when you've had a few seconds to think. but it did look like it was respecting this line, but there you go. So on that note, have a good rest of the day. I hope you get a sit up. I wouldn't hold your breath. It's not a great day today. Have a great evening. Stay safe. Thursday tomorrow. I don't think we got trading next week. The 19th. It's Juneteenth or whatever you call it. And it's also my birthday. So no trading that day. It's the 19th. So 8 days. So it's a week tomorrow. Thursday. So I'll be back tomorrow. Take it easy, guys. Stay safe. Have a good evening. And we'll catch up tomorrow. Bye for now.